We're live. So I'm going to switch to me.
Howdy, everybody.
I don't think everyone's in yet.
Wait, Matchew's not ready. Sorry. Sorry.
No one's watching. We're not even apologizing to anyone.
Yeah, but this is going to be
Oh,
recorded.
yeah, that's right. Shit.
Matchew's pulling this up.
Yeah, I got to pull it up.
Okay.
Wait, let's see. Here. I'm going to go sit and see if I can hear you.
We're just going to start doing ricer work and wait for you guys to join, and we'll have a little chatterooski here.
Well, I'm the pedal bitch.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sitting there. You sit and think about what you're getting at. That sounds horrible, huh?
You need new.
What's wrong with my jack?
Nothing's wrong with it. It just makes that noise.
No. That's what we got, Matt. So that's what we're working with.
I feel like such an old man sometimes with technology.
It's bad. I used to be like so hip with everything. No, I'm not.
Explain angle for drifting.
What?
Explain Ackerman angle for drifting, please.
Ackerman? What is he asking?
Yeah. That's from behind the wheel.
Ackerman angle for drifting, please. I've never even heard of that before.
We're not drifters.
I pretend to be a drifter, but I'm not a real drifter. Wait, that is not a Geo Super. How is the Super Search going? So,
Yeah, let's talk about that.
well, let's let more people. We're gonna let some people join, and then I'll tell you guys where I'm at with the whole GR Super process. So right now we're just doing a brake bleed here. We had to crack the lines loose the other day. This is a different bleeding sequence than most normal cars. So if it looks like I'm jumping around all over the place, it's because that's what the factory service manual calls for. You almost ready there, Matchew?
No other questions yet.
Yeah, well, we just started the live. Wait. In the meantime, if anybody knows what Ackerman angle is, by all means, please feel free to educate me. Oh, these are bigger than 10.
Oh, we got a question. When are we taking the S2K and your favorite motorcycle to the Tail of the Dragon?
Two things?
Yeah, get a little trailer, dude.
You need quite a trailer to do a car and a motorcycle.
I don't know. Bring the Vit pill and it only weighs like 300 pounds, right? A little under.
Could. Where's that for, Tail of the Dragon? It's so far. All right.
Not a fan of the handheld vacuum pumps for this. I use those sometimes because I'm by myself, and they're useful for sure. I like them.
I'm just old school. I had one of the ones that you like attach.
Yeah, to the actual reservoir.
Well, you got to put so much fluid in the damn thing and then like pump it up. I was like, yeah, I have it. I just don't use it. Go ahead, pump.
I'm pumping. This is gonna be distracting.
Well,
These questions.
You don't have to say it. I mean, go ahead.
Releasing.
I'm saying you don't have to say, I'll just like guide you.
Ooh, new Supra looks great, but it's not. He's not a fan of direct injection.
I'm right there with you, but supposedly that one's better. I don't think you can get a modern sports car that isn't direct injection at this point. Good pump.
Holding. These calipers we installed when last year, or was it this year?
Last year.
Yep.
These are the belay monoblocks, and they bolt directly to the factory S2000 knuckle. They're pretty nice, and they're light. They're 5 pounds less per caliper than the stock ones.
Yep, they use a factory pad too for Integra Type R and NSX.
Yeah, Integra Type R NSX pad, so it's bigger than the OEM S2000 pad, and it's readily available to the pump. A lot of pumps there.
I like to pump it up.
Go one more time. Yeah, does anybody do standard port injection anymore, or is it all? I think they're all direct injection at this point.
I'm pretty sure the GR86 is not a direct injection engine. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually port injection.
I thought the FRS was direct injection, so I'd be very like shocked if the GR was not.
Yeah, well, let's be real with how many miles Quinn's going to put on the GR Supra. I mean, you might have to walnut blast the back of the valves in like 2050.
That's something I really don't want to do. But there's oil separator kits. Felix bought one already.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna grab one.
Yeah. Oh, you got to do air oil separator. And the nice thing, we'll have it from brand new.
Yeah.
So we'll have it in right away. Death K says, "What's happening, fam?"
What's going on, brother?
Yo. Tezzilla says, "How's the ITB Miata doing?"
It's good. It's sitting. It's good. I didn't drive it at all this year. It's hard for me because one, I don't have a lot of time. Two, this thing is like, as much as I hate to say it, like this thing is like set up much better now from like an all motor 4-cylinder perspective. It's got good street manners. It's faster. You know, got an amazing gearbox. So it's just kind of, I feel bad. My Miata just kind of gets neglected now.
I missed that car. Oh, Neil's on. He has to work tomorrow, and we're waking him up. I think he's UK time.
Yeah. So you guys are Neil. My girl she just flew back from the UK today. She was in London for a few days. Yeah, UK's 5 hours ahead.
Yep. Yeah, they were just wondering why we were bleeding the brakes. That's why he asked about the calipers. But why were we? Did we want to talk about why we were bleeding the brakes?
Well, we were doing blade big brake rotors, and it uses adapter brackets to space the caliper out. It relocates the caliper. They're sick. They're 330 mil, and they're 2-piece floating, and they're slotted, and they're all beautiful. But
yeah, aluminum top hats too.
Because I don't run giant wheels on the car, neither set of my wheels clear the caliper because it repositions it a little bit. So guys who are really like into the track oriented setups that do like the 17x9s and the 17x10 wheel setups, they'll clear it. I just can't with these. So we abandoned it, but well, we have something probably big coming for the channel, and it's going to be to the tune of an S2000 build / giveaway. So we're not going to announce that fully right now because we're still going back and forth on the whole thing right now. But it's probably 80% confirmed at this point, and it's going to be boosted.
I'm excited. Oh, wait, we got to move on. We got a lot of questions.
Oh.
Jeff K says he's still dating the RX-8.
Not really.
You did. You drove it once, right?
Yeah.
Drove it once this year.
Oh no, you're too fat. I can't get my jack out.
Oh, I am too fat.
Step out the car for a second.
Oh, someone asked about the weight FD.
Yeah, Matt, what's the deal with the white FD? Well, hold on. To the RX-8.
Yeah.
I haven't really driven the RX-8, but to be fair, I don't really leave the house much anymore. I work from home for my day job. I run my business out of the upstairs of this place. So I don't drive a lot, and if I do, I usually just take the Lexus. Although I was looking at the RX-8 today, I'm like, man, I want to drive that more, so I will drive it some more this year. I did get it out a couple times already. I still do enjoy it as a daily driver.
Right. And then Jeff Snap was asking about the white FD. The white FD is sitting right here.
Show them.
Yeah, I'll show him.
I'll move the camera.
So I did have a kid 3 months ago tomorrow.
Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you. That's why, the white FD's kind of been slacking, but I do have some goodies in here. Hold on. Lots of goodies in here, and I will be going to my my good buddy Derek for the fab work on that car. So it's coming. It's just taking a little bit of time, family stuff. Oh. The rotary Miata. No, there's good things to say about the rotary Miata now.
It's getting work done.
Yes.
Where the car is at, the engine's in the mounted on the subframe. I think the transmission's in there. I had to buy a ITB kit for it to make life easier for it's peripheral port. It's a peripheral port 13B. It's got 10-to-1 compression RX-8 rotors. They're balanced. It should be able to spin like 10,000 RPM without grenading. It's got an RX-8 billet crank. It's a Adaptronics ECU. And I don't know what else to really say. They were making, I think they still have to make the exhaust. I just ordered a whole bunch of coolant fittings to do a custom radiator setup in there and things like that. So it is happening. Mike and I had a long talk, and I told him, I expressed my frustration about how it's been taking so long. So they're getting it done. Just want the car done, get it back here. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, if I'm going to sell it. I kind of want to sell it because I got the Supra on the way, which will. So where do we have when we get caught for questions? I'll talk about the Supra.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions.
All right, keep going.
It's time for a 3 or 4 rotor turbo or 3 or 4 rotor build.
3 and 4 rotors are outrageously expensive now.
What's the eccentric shaft? Is like $6,000 for just the eccentric shaft
on a 3 rotor.
Yeah,
it might even be more. I'm sorry, on a 4 rotor. On a 3 rotor, an eccentric shaft's like $4,800.
Yeah,
for a billet one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, the anchor band is the difference in the angle from the inner to the outer wheel. The tighter radius for the inner. That's what the anchor band angle. Still have the exoset. Yes. Should we talk about the exoset?
Yeah, you talk about the exoset.
Well,
hey. Good, we're live right now.
He's got a phone call.
It's okay. Everything all right? Yeah.
Import a Cosmo. Yeah, that's a good idea. Cheap way to go 20B.
What's that?
You import a Cosmo. That's a cheap way to go 20. That's probably cheaper than going 20B. Like just buying the eccentric shaft.
Well, I mean, originally that was what I was going to do. I was just going to get a 20B from a Cosmo, but there's 4 iterations of it. You want a C or a D iteration. A and B are not as stout.
Yep.
But then you got to tear the whole thing apart and rebuild it. If you're keeping a turbo, then you can keep the, I think it's 9-to-1 compression lower. They're lower compression rotors, or maybe even 8.8. But if you're doing all motor 20B, then you can either do S5, which is FC, the second gen of the FC, the NA rotors. They're 9.7-to-1, If you want higher compression than that, you could do RX-8 rotors, but RX-8 rotors you have to have machined because the apex seals are only 2 millimeters deep versus 3 millimeters of the older style. So to run the correct apex seal in there, you have to machine the RX-8 rotors. And then if you're doing all that shit, you should probably balance it so you could rev it higher. But I think, didn't LG's 4 rotor just blow up?
I don't know. The thumbnail said it did.
Yeah, I didn't like watch the video, but I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah.
It's expensive. Like when I was originally talking about doing this 4 years ago, and almost 4 years ago when we dropped the car off, a used 20B was somewhere in the vicinity of like $5-6 grand. So like after that plus naturally aspirated build stuff, like it was probably like 15 grand said and done. Now it's like you're not touching that for anything under like $20,000 for the build. And it's just, I mean, it's cool, it's different, but I'll tell you what, not to crap on them about this too long, but you guys will see in upcoming videos, now that my black FD is like sorted engine-wise, I'm running 6 more pounds of boost, so it's like 21, sometimes spikes to 22, 23. But man, this thing fucking rips now.
It's so fast.
And it sounds damn good. And like the car is not crazy with this much power. Like I'm getting to the limits of like what the chassis is like happy with. But man, I took it out yesterday. I went and met Tommy, and he was taking me all through like back roads with. I was following him in his 997 Turbo S, 911 Turbo S, and like this is faster than that. Like in the top end. I mean, he eats me up like on the low end with like the PDK and like just being in torque, but. I mean, this car felt awesome. So we're gonna have some like raw driving footage. We're gonna do a spotlight video on it. Like, all that stuff is coming, and I'm excited. You'll see it. It makes a hard argument for why to spend all that money for a 20V that's going to be slower.
Yeah,
and also like the motorcycle stuff really scratched that all motor engine experience itch for me. And I have this and the white Miata, so it's like how many and the BMW. The BMW is all motor.
he's forgetting about cars now.
Yeah, the Z4, which is another car I want to start modifying at some point. I mean, we were going to do it this year, but then the whole Supra prospect kind of put that on the back burner until next year.
Yeah, someone asked, will there be an MT GR Supra, and what color will it be?
All right, how many people are in here now?
28.
All right, we'll just spill the beans from the Supra. So that video that we aired on the Supra podcast,
That's a while ago.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I have, go ahead, Pump. I ended up putting in 3 different orders for the car. One was at a local dealer in the state. They're a very big Toyota dealer. So I'll just let you guys in on this without going too much on it. You can't just order a car with Toyota, Pump. You have to tell Toyota the spec that you want and hope that they get an allocation for one that matches close enough to what you're looking for. And a dealer gets allocations based on how much volume they do. So like I called probably 15 dealers in Connecticut. Most of them didn't even want to take my order because they didn't think they could get the car. Some of them said, yeah, we'll take it, but we've had orders in since 2021 and 2020 that we haven't even been able to fulfill yet. So I went with the one that they sounded fairly confident that they would get me an allocation at some point. They were putting a $3,000 markup on the car, which sucks. You know, I think that's like really lame, especially like the fact that they don't have it. But what I originally put the order in was for a white premium. I wanted absolute white, which is the pearly metallic. If they had a gloss white, I would be into that. But it was, it was the metallic white, which is fine. It's still very pretty. It has to be white. I think white is a really elegant sports car color by Pump. Premium package, which gets you leather, the iDrive system, and some other like shit, but I really just wanted black leather interior. That was another important part for it. Okay, you good?
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
And manual was the biggest factor, right? So MSRP on that car is like around 60,000 with said options. $3,000 markup plus like, you know, all the other bullshit or whatever. Through my fiance's real estate network, she put me in touch with one of her friends or fellow realtors. Her husband owns a dealership in Wyoming, and they were really nice to me. And the kid that I worked with there, who was the sales manager, I think he was like 30, but his name's Jeremy, awesome dude. And he just basically laid it out to me. Like, we talked, I showed him what we do with the YouTube channel. I told him how this is going to be a car that's going to be featured on it. And, you know, if they can just get me the car, right? Like, really, that's really what the goal became. It's not a matter of like, you know, it's just like, can I get one? Because they're not going to make a ton of manuals. Toyota's done with this model of Supra in 2025. So we're down to the last 2 years here, because I'm not getting a 23 car, I'm getting a 24 car. And BMW announced that they're done with manuals. So that is a ZF manual from the BMW line that Toyota goes through and like heavily works over. They say it doesn't feel anything like the BMW trainings, but it is from the ZF like manual transmission family. And BMW is done with those. So does that mean that everything's going ZF for Toyota also, that using that gearbox? Like, I don't know. So I just wanted to get a car. Well, Labor Day weekend. Oh, and I'll just say this. And that dealer was so cool. They didn't want a deposit, and they said they'd give me the car at MSRP, no markup. Great. That's and considering how every conversation with every deal, I had dealers that were saying $5,000 markup. And if you find one that's unclaimed, an allocation that's unclaimed at a dealer, because you can look it up. So there's a guy who like keeps track of the allocations, and he has a spreadsheet. A lot of them are usually already claimed. But I have seen people on the forums like call dealers all across like the states and actually get an allocation that was like coming in. So an allocation means like the dealers made arrangements for one particular car. They have the VIN, they have the specs and stuff on it. It's going to eventually hit their doors at some point. But if you find something like that, usually the markup's even more, like close to $10,000. And that's just like, I don't want the car that bad. You know, and I also kind of put it up to fate. Like, if I get the car, if I get an allocation, then I guess it was meant to be. If I don't, then it's not meant to be. So I just kind of put it out there like that. So Labor Day weekend, the Friday of, I got a call from Jeremy from the Wyoming Toyota dealership, and he's like, "I got you a car. I got an allocation." The only thing is, it's not a white premium. It's a white 45th anniversary, which I have a little bit of mixed feelings about. I think it's cool that it's going to be a 1 of 900 car. 450 of them are in the new Mican Blast orange color. The other 450 are going to be in Absolute Zero, which is the pearly metallic white. Not all of them are manuals. So like when push comes to shove, it's going to be, you know, 1 of 450 45th anniversary white cars, and then however manuals they actually make of that. So it's going to be a pretty limited car. As far as a limited make, it's kind of a wussy special edition, but Toyota has never done like cool special editions. Yeah. When have they ever done anything like that? So it comes with like a spoiler, which I might just take it off because I actually really like the car. It was wingless with like a duckbill. But I got to see it in person before I can really make an assessment on it. It has a side graphic, which I feel like there's a good chance that's getting heat gunned off. It has black wheels, which I don't care about. I already have wheels for it, which I'm not going to announce those yet, but they're fucking sick. I can't wait to put these wheels on. And then it comes with black calipers, which is cool. Yeah. I like that because all the standard calipers are red. I don't love red calipers, especially on a white car. So I think the black is definitely, that's like a welcomed thing for the 45th anniversary. And there's one other thing. I'll get to special edition strut power bar, which is like whatever. It's cool. I like limited edition like TRD parts like that. Like that's cool, I guess. So it's an expensive car in terms of a Supra. Like this one MSRP is $65,400, somewhere in that vicinity. But like when you factor in a 3.0 premium in Connecticut was going to cost me $63 and change, it's really not that big of a markup. And then it's a limited edition car. So it's coming. He told me estimated 6 weeks. to hit their shores. They're gonna leave all the plastics on it for me, and I'm gonna have it shipped here in an enclosed trailer. So we're gonna like basically like do the whole unraveling of the car for the channel. Everything's gonna get documented for the car. It'll be a complete build, and obviously we'll benchmark it against all the older '90s cars and see where it's relevant, where it's not. But I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be good stuff.
Yeah, so that's the news on the Supra. So it is coming. I wasn't even expecting to get an allocation this soon because most dealers or most experiences that I read was the average was like 8 to 14 months to get an allocation. So
We got a bunch more.
sorry. All right.
No, it's all right. Neil left. He said goodnight.
Oh, good night, Neil.
Exoset. Do you want to talk about like the Exoset real quick?
Yeah.
Like what we did?
Yeah.
It's
you film it.
Yeah. So the Exoset is no longer in this garage because it now lives in my garage. I think Quinn like thought he might have had too many cars and was never going to drive this thing, and so
I'm never gonna drive it.
my dad actually bought out Quinn's half of the Exoset, and it's now living with me. And my dad and I are turning it into a dedicated track car. It is running. I just switched the ECU over to a Megasquirt MS3, and just got it running. I just had it down at Caffeine and Carburetors over the weekend. It's running great. Looking forward to get that thing on track. There'll be updates on that soon. Okay.
So like, I'll just add to this. I don't get to drive a lot as it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of the free time I do have, I still try to get out on bikes because they're just more new and fresh. Although I did do a lot of driving this weekend, which was really cool in the FD. But part of me like knew I wanted to get a newer sports car, something modern. And the Supra, with the manual I kept going back and forth on it. But selling my my share of the Exoset to Matt, selling Matt the white FD, like that was kind of all with the intention of like I'm probably gonna do something with this money.
All right, here's a question. If you had a low mileage stock S2000 CR and a stock AP1 S2000, which would you keep if you had to sell one?
Oof, that's a tough question.
The CRs are worth so much money. If it were me, I would sell the CR and use that money.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I never loved the CR. I thought it was ugly. And I remember like when dealers like could not give those away. They were selling them at like 28 grand brand new. When that was supposed to be like $35,000 or $36,000.
And now like low mileage ones are like 6 figures.
I don't love the lip. I don't like the wing.
Yep.
The interior is cool. I will say this, like, maybe it's just because I haven't driven a really well-tuned all-motor 2.2. Like, there's no doubt about it that the 2.2 makes more power. They dyno 10 to 15 wheel horsepower more with the extra displacement and the 1/10 of a point of compression, right?
Yeah.
And in tuned equally to like what this is, like this would probably be like closer to 250 wheel horsepower, around 250 if it was a 2.2. But I've yet to drive one that gave that same level of excitement that the F20 does. The F20 going up to 9,000, there's just something very unique about that experience versus the 2.2. Now, granted, I haven't driven a fully tuned 2.2. I've only driven ones that had like bolt-ons. The one that I had was just a bolt-on car, no tuning, with the 8,000 RPM rev limit. But they just the engine feels a lot less exciting than the 2-liter. So I would probably keep the AP1 and sell the CR, especially with how much they're worth.
Yep, agreed. Good question, Apollo. Jay asked, if you had to let one car go from your collection, what would it be?
Oof. One car.
I think I know the answer to that.
What do you think it is?
I think it's as much as like, so we love RX-8s here, but I'm pretty sure that's what Quinn's about to say, based on my conversations with him.
Well, let's just say I'm probably getting rid of the red Miata.
Oh, Brent. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Well, I haven't seen it in time, so.
Well, the red Miata's not here, so if you're only counting the cars that's here, I don't know if you guys can, I hope they can hear me all right.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. It would probably be the RX-8. Only because I just don't drive them a lot. So like the RX-8 is a wonderful car, but I just need to start bailing the damn thing more. That's really what it comes down to.
So awesome segue into the next couple questions.
Sure.
From Alex and G Wappa Bent. What? I don't know. They want any plans for the RX-8? More RX-8 content! Exclamation point.
What should I do?
Turbocharge it.
I could, but like, you know, I'm gonna talk about this when we start doing more of the FD videos. It's awesome, but man, like sometimes I feel like the car hates me because I'm just dealing with like issue after issue on it. Even yesterday, I killed the spark plugs like towards the end of the trip. I had to put new plugs in it last night.
Ooh. All right. Jody Glenn said, build a track-worthy half-cage 72 El Camino. I think the time trials are a small time hill climb, but no wheel to wheel. Or keep it street and go full dedicated track build with the RX-8, wheel to wheel spec. He has both, or he or she. Jody, I don't know.
Wait, so Jody has a hill climb El Camino and a RX-8.
Well, I keep saying he. I don't know for sure. This is Jody. But,
Jody, are you a guy or a girl?
That's what I thought. Yeah, he's a dude. Okay.
All right, cool. Thank you for
I never want to assume. Yeah. He has both an RX-8 and El Camino, which are El Camino's cool. I like El Camino.
I mean, that's wild. Like you got a hill climb El Camino. I've never driven anything like that, so I can't even get in comment. But I got to say that's probably a riot to watch that thing being driven in anger up the hill climb. All right, go
pumping. All right. Favorite detail products?
Well, hold on. We didn't answer Joey's question.
Oh yeah. So what do you think? I think hill climb's cool. I follow a couple of guys with like turbocharged and like track Miatas and stuff to do hill climbs, and I want to check out some of those events.
I think this fucking bleeder nipple sees like.
Get a socket on it to crack it.
I'm gonna just use the hex part of my mesh here. So don't strip it.
Sorry, we're trying to do actual work.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
All right,
Pumping.
So Jody, what does he want to do? He wants to track the El Camino.
I think time trials are small time hill climb, but no wheel to wheel. He's not gonna do wheel to wheel. Time trials are small time hill climb.
My only apprehension with the RX-8 in a racing situation is the side seals get hot and they wear. So I don't know if anybody's got the formula down, whether it's just a lot of premix or whatever the case is to keep the engine reliable under sustained high RPM. That would be my only apprehension of like racing the RX-8. It's the sustained high RPM. The El Camino thing I can't comment on. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Are you holding?
Yeah, I'm holding.
There's like no hair in this line.
Yeah, so he's just the answer is weary about the side seals on the RX-8.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is, if there even is one. I know that was the problem with those for racing applications is the side seals. So again, you might be able to fudge it with like a lot of premix and like good cooling in the car, but you may not. And if you can't, then I would just try to steer away from any real racing application in the RX-8, unless you're going to put a 13B, like an older 13B in it, and get rid of the Renesis. Then you know, by all means, that's an option too.
Yeah. All right, next one. Sorry.
Yep.
How many miles do you have on each of your sports cars? Real low on all of them, except the one we're sitting in.
My S2000s got 130 something, like around 130,000.
Yeah, all the other ones are much lower, right?
My black FD has 70 something thousand on the body. My MD Miata has 63,000 on the body. My BMW Z4M has 43,000 on the body. Well, on the whole car, that's nothing's changed on there. The RX-8's 42,000 or 43,000. My Lexus has 120,000 miles on it. And the red Miata has like 80,000 miles.
Well, not bad. What's your favorite detail products? Carlos.
What do you like?
Whatever's in my garage.
I mean, I thought that oh, sorry about
I
that.
don't go crazy with detail stuff. That was always I always just listen to whatever Ryan said, because that was kind of his thing.
I've been buying I used to get a lot of McGuire stuff. I still have a lot of McGuire stuff. And then, Griots, I've been buying.
Yeah.
They're like quick detailer and stuff.
Isn't it Grios?
Probably. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
Grios Garage, yeah.
But, you know, when I think that I know shit about detail and I go to like Tommy's, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I washed my car when I got to a shop yesterday. He's got this like little electric pressure washer that's just got like a stumpy handle. You can hook a foam can up to it. Like he's got all the cool shit. I'm like, man. I'm like, how much is one of these? They got like $1,800.
Dude, I have a foam cannon set up. It's not expensive.
No, his little electric pressure washer that only comes on when you actually like spray the nozzle.
Yeah, that's what I have on mine too. I have an electric pressure. Dude, the whole thing was like $200.
Really?
Yeah.
He said that Matt from Obsessed Garage gave it to him. And it cost that much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure his is much better than mine, but like, I don't think it's necessary. I mean, unless that's your thing, is detail. Like the cars to be clean is easy.
I hate washing cars.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. So we go on. Tell us more why you chose the Supra. Were you considering the other new cars?
Well, that's the thing. The only other car that was like kind of desirable to me is like a 911 GT3, but it's at the same time it's not, because I really hate flat engines. I don't think that they work in the long run, and it's outrageously expensive. I don't have the money for that, so like I couldn't think of a better new car that's front engine, rear wheel drive, limited slip diff, that looks cool, right? Because there's the look factor in the car. Like I like a traditional looking sports car, front engine, rear wheel drive. I can't think of anything else. What else is out there?
I would do an M2.
Now we'll do an M2, but like, I like the M2, like, but I see the M2 as more like a daily driver. Like I would want an M2 to daily drive.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at it as too. Like, it's just a fun daily that's easy to drive.
I can't really justify buying an M2 to be like my pristine, you know, this is going to be like a baby car build. And like, you know, I missed out on a Mark IV Supra and the NSX. They're just too they're too much money for what they are. So I can't like justify the cost for one of those cars. But this carries the Supra name. It's kind of true to the heritage of what a Mark IV Supra was. You have an inline turbo, straight six. This one's all aluminum, which is cool. I mean, it's BMW, but like I guess from what I've read and what I've seen, it seems to be a pretty stout. People are making 700-800 at the wheels on the stock internals, just like the old day Supra.
Are people saying too that the B58s and the BMWs are now better because Toyota had, you know, a hand in developing them?
I've heard that, but like, it's
well, who knows what that looking at?
I mean, here's the thing. I don't have. So what am I missing in this garage? Like for driving experiences, like I don't have a big torquey car, or like a big torque car. Like, I don't mean like physically big, but like big low end grunt. And the Mark IVs with bolt-ons, tune on pump, do anywhere from like 450 to 475, 480 wheel horsepower, but the torque is over 500, and there's like almost no lag with that factory turbo. So I think that's going to be a very different driving experience. Like it was really revealing to me yesterday, ripping this thing around against Tommy's 997 Turbo S. That like anytime you got to like a diggy section or wherever I fell out of boost or out of the power band, I'm like, man, you are just waiting for this thing. It's like you really got to be in the upper RPMs to like really feel that power. So to have a car that's like really torquey down low. I mean, I had the vet, I had that C5 vet, but that thing was just a piece of shit. I feel like I shouldn't say it's a piece of shit. That's being a little bit too rude to it, but it's a fast car in the sense that it's a big tire, big torque. But it didn't have the balance that I like in a car where like if you want to slide it and hoon it around it. I like the car was dangerous to try to do like knucklehead stuff in.
Yeah. All right, let's take that 2000 question. What are your thoughts on square wheel and tire setup versus a staggered setup on an AP1?
I love it.
You love a square setup?
Yeah. Well, you can make both work. So hold on. The square setup is awesome on track. Where like a staggered setup, I don't think works as good on track because you just, especially if it's a tighter track, you get a lot of understeer. You get a lot of slow push with the staggered setup. On the street, it doesn't matter as much. So you guys, if you saw like the old track test of this versus the new one, I mean, like the tires got over roasted pretty quickly. The track that we do our filming on, it punishes front tires, so they get hot, and as soon as they get hot, they wash out. So the square setup on the S2000 worked way better. But on the street, where like you're not overcooking the fronts, having a stagger is fine. It's safe, especially if you want to like get the car sideways. So like if you watch the more recent video of me ripping this thing, I mean, granted, these tires are clapped out and they're like way past their like grip point. But it was fun and controllable, even though they're like kind of like slippery and dangerous. Having that stagger gives you that little extra bit of like margin, so the car's not going to like really snap oversteer and kill you.
All right. How would you build and set up your dream NC?
You answer this first.
I would like to do an NC with like kind of similar to how Quinn has this S2000 built, basically just like a mild like NA build, and I'd love it to be like a power trackable hard top. Like honestly, like I think this thing is great. I think this thing built like this is a great street car.
My ass.
Your ass.
Yeah.
S2000. I would probably try and build it to be similar to this, like similar power delivery. You do a BBR 220, ITBs, cams.
You're too fat.
I'm too fat.
You gotta get out of here. Oh, actually, no, stay there. I'll get it from the girlfriend.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm left.
Yeah, that's how I would do an NC. And if it wasn't enough power, road trek supercharger. All right. Yeah, Jody said we should check out the Appalachian Hill Climb series. Show us around. Yeah, I would love to check out a hill climb.
Wait, you want to hear about my dream NC?
What's your dream NC? I'm just looking at all these questions coming in.
Oh, shoot. All right, I'll make it quick. I love the NC Miata. Low key, I like it better than my NV and the NA, but it's a little redundant to build one at this point, having this car. But the NC is like a mini RX-8, and it's much quieter inside. So it has my utmost respect in that regard. If I was going to do one, I would definitely do a K-swap in it because everything's on the correct side. The exhaust is on the correct side, where that was my big hang up with the NA and NB is it's on the wrong side, and I don't like the way you have to route it.
It's expensive.
Yeah, but if my dream NC,
Yeah,
I would do K24 swap, like
Yeah.
probably all the same mods as this, and shit, why not ITBs too? Because this is probably going to get ITBs at some point anyways. But yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Michael's asking, which mod on the S2000 gave the most horsepower?
It's not, I mean,
Some of the all parts.
it's the sum of all the parts, but like the biggest horsepower gain you can do like on a stock S2000 is take the cat out.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the cat, that frees up power, and then probably followed by the exhaust manifold. But from there, it's like everything else is like an accumulation of the parts. Because you're not just going to get like one magic thing that does it all.
So Craig asked us, yo dude, you interested in visiting the Nürburgring in Germany?
Yes.
Hell yes. We've been talking about this for how long?
It's a bucket list.
Yes, that's a bucket list thing.
Well, I want to go when I can rent something German.
You rented them too, and you go on the Nürburgring. Isn't that like
What's the GT3 rental cost? Or maybe it came in GT4 would be fine.
Well, yeah, you get the 4-liter, screaming at 9,000.
I
memorized that track. I know that track by heart.
On my simulator, that's like Gran Turismo. That's all that I ran.
Yep.
Was Nürburgring relentlessly.
Yep. Oh my God, I love that. What's a good affordable car platform to get into that would work as a daily fun car as well? He's from Europe, currently doing a 1.8 20 valve TT Mark 1 stuff.
Tell me about TT. What's that? Jetta?
The TT.
Audi TT. Okay. Yeah. And what's he asking for? What's an affordable like?
Affordable car. I mean, the NC is kind of like a decent one right now.
Yeah.
If you do like the BBR stuff, like, and just, free up some horsepower.
I mean, FRS is a good car.
FRS
It's
is
just
a
the
good
engine
platform.
kind of sucks on it. But like other than that, like the car itself is really good driving.
You find the right S2000 as well.
If you can get an S2, I mean, S2, S2000 is not a beginner rear-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
I know this the hard way because I crashed my first one when I was 21. But if you can learn how to drive, if you buy an S2000 and you just respect the shit out of it, and you learn how to like master it, you could drive anything at the limit.
Yeah.
All right, pump.
Okay. How long did the Shore Eye battery last on the RX-8?
I blew up the first one, partially, mostly my fault. So RX-8 has a lot of cold draw because the security system, the key, I have keyless entry on my pump, and it would kill the battery in about 2 weeks if I didn't have it on the stupid tender. I had to get going one day, and I put a jump pack on it.
I remember that day.
Yeah, and it kind of like fried it a little bit, but it still worked pump. And then I let it die again, and I tried doing the same thing, and I like totally killed the battery. It wouldn't hold the charge anymore after that. It wouldn't charge. So I probably got 1.5 years out of the first battery. The second one was like kind of a dud. I don't remember what I did to it. I don't know if I jumped. I don't think I jumped it again. I knew better, but like I let it die a couple of times. Like I forgot to put the tender on it, and it shit it out. But they replaced it on the warranty. So the one that's in there now has been in there for about 2 years. I just make sure I'm much better about putting the charger on it. I have like 4 or 5 of the Shore Eye chargers now because most of my motorcycles have Shore Eye batteries in them also. The one in this S2000 has been in here for what, 3 years, and it's fine. You just like the best way to get longevity out of them is don't let them die completely. Pump.
Pumping. All right, that was good. Ever considered OEM S2000 hardtop? Thoughts on the S2K hardtop options? Any Blade Sport offerings?
OEM S2000 hardtops are like outrageously expensive.
Costs, yeah.
So on that merit alone, it wouldn't be an option I would entertain. I mean, you know, even 2000 or whatever this was, I think it was 20. I think this hardtop was $2,300 for double carbon forbidden Mugen style. I mean, I like the Mugen style top the best. I think aesthetically that's the best looking top for the S2000. I wouldn't have any apprehensions with any of the ones that Blade sells. I think he sells these ones. He doesn't make them though. They're just ones that he sells.
Yeah, he wholesales, yeah.
But I mean, like, yeah, I think this top's been fine. My Lexan is cracked in the back, and I don't know. Oh yeah, you can look up. We're good. You can even get out of the car.
Oh, I like sitting in this car.
Keep sitting in the car.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, especially since the OEM ones if they're so expensive. Are they more expensive than like a Miata hardtop?
Dude, an OEM S2000 top's like $6,000 now.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, you know, like Miata hardtops are like $2,500 now, right?
What?
Yeah, dude, it's
Are
insane.
you kidding me?
Nope, not joking.
It's just a lot of money for like whatever.
They should have made all these cars coupes.
They should have made these cars too. Matchew is correct.
Arrive and Drive said, "What's going on, fellas? Any news on the 3-rotor project?" I don't know if he knows. You sold me the white FD.
Oh yeah, so you're a little late to the party.
If that's what he's referring to.
I sold Matt the white FD, so I'm no longer doing the 3-rotor. I'm really happy with the black RX-7 now at 21 pounds. It's probably making like 450. We're gonna dyno it. It's properly fast. An NA 3-rotor that's readable is even actually a full peripheral ported like 3-rotor would be slower than my FD where it's at now. It's and the cost of doing a 3-rotor now is just really expensive. So it's not happening. But we'll be able to see what a peripheral ported like built to snot 13B does.
Yeah. And
we can make an estimate on what an NA 3-rotor with the same mods would do based on how my Miata comes out.
Ooh, this is a good question. Wyatt said, "What would be the best way to train and improve my braking? How did you approach it yourself?"
So I actually used to go out at night, like when the roads were quiet all the time, and I had like little circuits that like I would run, and I would just attack like the couple corners, and then make my loop. So what you can do is you could start playing with it. Actually, though, the other thing to get an idea, practice it on a sim first. I had Gran Turismo 4 and 5, or no, 5 and 6 on PlayStation 3. I still haven't. I haven't used it in a long time. But you can start playing with the trail braking, and then you're not going to get the feeling of it, but you're going to see, you know, the best way to do is like you want to get your brake, start your braking in a straight line, and think of a string attached to your foot. So straight line, I'm hard on the brakes. As I start to turn into the corner, I'm going to start to relieve pressure from my foot as if there was a string at the bottom of the steering wheel attached to my foot. It's going to pull my foot back a little bit, and then you know, yeah. So like, because you can't, you know, if you're too hard on the brakes and you go into the corner, it's gonna rotate. The car is gonna be rotating. If you're really on the brakes, the car's gonna start to rotate as it is anyways.
Okay. Do you premix? So this is a Nate question. Do you premix every tank of fuel or every other tank?
On which car?
Or once a month?
Oh no, on the RX-7, every tank of fuel.
RX-7's every tank. RX-8.
RX-8, I have the
So
stone adapter, so it's premixing all the time, and I'm premixing more than the factory settings on it. And if I'm gonna like, you know, do the RX-8 at Weimark or whatever, where I'm gonna be beating on it more, I premix on top of the. What?
I'm looking at some of these other questions. There's a good one coming up.
All right.
All right. Well, so it's like a couple more, but what do you think you get out of the factory weight on a Supra? They're like approximately 3,400 pounds.
I don't know. So
He hasn't yet explored the limits on one.
Toyota,
It's a bit fat, but everything's fat now, and we all just make up for it with tire compound.
well, Toyota says that the curb weight is like 3389 on a manual, but Car and Driver when they did the lightning lap, they said it was 3341. Fuel, 3341. So a titanium exhaust and like some wheels will get you probably right to the 3,300 pound mark, which that's like close to my Z4. My Z4 is 3280.
Yeah. All right. Kevin's asking just about a 2010 Miata, best track/street coilovers. Mostly street. Wanted to be an autocross animal. Look at 949 Racing and Zeta coilovers. I absolutely love the Zeta coilovers for my NA.
Yeah,
That are going to eventually go on the Exo set, actually.
I had Tane Flex, the old ones before Street Flex and all that other stuff, and they're okay. They're not the best. But they're far from the worst.
Yeah, I like 949. They like specialize in their cars. They you know, they're really good on street and track. This is a funny one. If you stopped vaping and you owned a 16 STI, how would you make it not feel like a lumber wagon that you're sitting on?
16 STI. What? What is?
I don't know what to say.
I don't know.
Great question. I don't know.
I mean, STIs are not bad cars.
Yeah.
They're not like they're good. Like they're good out of the box. So can you explain a little bit more? Is it stock? What's your complaint? Because I feel like a stock STI is like, you know, aside from being all-wheel drive and a little bit understeer, like the car itself is pretty damn good.
Kevin has a 94 and a 2010. Yep, that's the way he bought a 2010. Yeah, he said the NC is way better. Agreeing. Snap oversteering, S2000s the real, almost crashed it. That's the same guy who said the STI comment.
I totaled my first AP1 when I was 21.
Scott one says, this ain't no Miata.
No, it's not.
Okay, Dan says, how do you check engine light on your RX-8 when moving the cat? Do you have a default thing? Will that work? Or no, you have a different ECU.
Yeah, I don't know if the O2 spacers will work on the RX-8. For some reason, I feel like I've read that they don't. But I bought Mazda at it years ago. We actually did videos on it too. And I showed you guys how to go in there and disable the circuits for cell codes so it doesn't check for them anymore.
I think this is Apollo who asked about the Nürburgring. Said I know you like the GT3 since you like more sports cars. Thoughts on the Cayman GT4? We touched on that earlier. So S2000 owners have moved into a GT4, sort of a German version of the S2000. I like the Cayman.
I think the Cayman GT4 is a cool car, and I think they're pretty too.
Yeah.
They're geared a little bit long for a naturally aspirated engine.
I think that's intentionally done by Porsche. It's not as good as the 911.
There's that part of me that like just hates Porsche for like the way they do certain things. Like they make the manuals very exclusive, and then they get these big giant markups and stuff. And like the fact that they intentionally make the Cayman series slower than the 911 GT3 stuff like just pisses me off. But I think the Cayman GT4 is a really good car. I looked at that, so that was probably the only other like somewhat realistic car I looked at, like price wise, because the GT3 is just I don't have the money for a GT3, and I don't think I even would spend the money on a GT3. I don't think they're worth it. But you know, a used Cayman GT4 with like low miles is still $70,000 to $90,000 something, and I'm like, do I want a used Porsche with no support? Like, I get scared with some of the issues you may encounter on a car like that in the long term.
Yeah.
You know, and then to pay that much money, like, it's like, or do I want a brand new Supra for $60,000? So the Supra, like, just the fact that I never bought a brand new car before either, so this will be my first brand new car. Yeah.
All right, so here's a really serious question from Stefan.
Really serious.
Does it still burn when you pee?
Every damn day.
Or wait, no, I think he was saying that to Kevin. He said he oh, there's comments towards other people. That's funny. Dan says, how much louder did your RX-8 get when you put the resonator mid pipe? 10% louder? Resonator mid pipe.
With the stock exhaust, the stock axle back, like no louder.
No louder.
It was like negligible. That Racing Beat resonator setup like works very, very well for what it is. So even my car with the full Racing Beat now, I have the Racing Beat catback. It's like a wonderful balance for a street car. And the fact that it's a completely straight pipe rotary, it's very, very tolerable. My S2000 is louder than it, like at full throttle.
Do you miss racing?
Ooh. Sometimes.
What made you walk away?
I sometimes miss racing. What made me walk away? It was a couple things. It's expensive.
I'm trying to get him to do these HPDE days that I do with mass tuning because all it is just fun.
Racing's expensive, and I was spending a lot of money to race a car that was way slower than everything else because it was SSM, which is showroom spec Miata, so it was even slower than the regular spec Miata class. I had to run like a bigger throttle restrictor, or sorry, not bigger, but like a smaller throttle restrictor on it.
Yeah.
And a stock exhaust. A race weekend cost me $2,000, no less, if I wanted to win, because I'd have to buy $850 worth of tires.
Yep.
If you didn't have new tires for a race weekend, you were not going to win. You were going to lose, or not lose, but like you weren't going to podium. So it became the same like rinse and repeat, and like not to be like too transparent, but it's probably not as much now that I'm older and I'm like more calm about things. But when I was younger, I was more anxious and like nervous. I'd always have the anxiety every time, like before going out on track. Even though I knew like I was going to do well in most scenarios, I still had that like, you know, I couldn't sit still the whole race weekend. So I would tire myself out. I wouldn't be able to sit down in between races. I'd be checking shit on the car. I'd be constantly doing stuff. And then, you know, it became just too much work.
It is a lot of work.
And I wasn't really getting the enjoyment out of it. So that's all. Those reasons, cost, and like, you know, I won my races. I proved to myself that I could be competitive. Oh, and then the prospect of pro racing. So I had an opportunity to drive a pro race at Line Rock in Continental Grand Am. Because my wife at the time, her cousin was like really connected with a lot of the race teams, and he was doing like team management. And he put me in touch with Irish Mike's Racing, and they offered me a seat in their Mini Cooper at a discounted rate. Guess what the discounted rate was for one race? Wow. Shared drivers, because you have to share it. Like you can't do and like Rolex and all that stuff. Like it was 2 drivers always.
Okay.
$5,000 for one race.
For a race. How long is this race?
I think it's like 2 hours. So I would,
Yeah.
it wouldn't like, but like at the time, I was 25 or 26, and like $5,000, like just $5,000 for an hour of driving was like way too much. You know, even now, like I wouldn't want to just spend $5,000 to drive 1 hour.
All right.
So like one more takeaway. So and I got to rub elbows with a lot of people in pro racing, and the more I learned about pro racing was it didn't really matter how much skill you had. If you had the checkbook, you can be there. And I say this because my cousin there, he was managing APR Volkswagen, and I went down to the 24 hours a day Daytona race, Rolex. This was the Rolex in 2012. Awesome experience. But I helped, I helped him, and I watched what was going on. It was all Argentinians with money that were on that team. They were all terrible drivers. They had the R8s. They had the Continental Grand Ams. They were like GTIs and stuff. Mm-hmm. Dude, they smoked the clutches in the R8 like within the first 40 minutes. Those cars spent more time in the pits being worked on, or they were crashing. And like, yeah, there's good drivers. I mean, there are good drivers in pro racing, but I would argue that you would get more competition at an SCCA runoffs event than you will get in any pro race, because there's like the top like 5, 6, 7 guys, if even that much. And those are the ones that are always competing at the top. The rest of the people are just like, whatever.
It's more about the drive than the money.
Yep.
Why were you selling all your stuff on the marketplace, Quinn?
To fund my Supra that I got to pay for soon.
And we were going through a lot of stuff and cleaning it out.
I have accumulated so much shit, and I don't like throwing stuff away because I feel bad. But I really just have to come to the reality that, like, you know, if I haven't needed any of this stuff in the past 10 years, I'm probably not going to need it like anytime soon. So I'm just trying to like get rid of things. And there's still a whole bunch more that I haven't even listed yet. And I want to expand the shop. So the other bay out there where it's mostly just storage, I want to put all the dirty work equipment out there, like the welder, the tire machines, the drill press, the cut up, or the grinding wheels and stuff, like all the dirty work, keep out there. And make room in here to have, you know, because I got another car coming at some point, and
then this will go at some point.
At least the white FD is going, but I want to keep the Supra out and with the other cars. Something's going to have to come out here. It's probably going to be the RX-8. But
hey, I think we said this last time we met up. If Toyota made the GR86 have a double wishbone suspension on the front axle and have a Honda-like 4-cylinder, would it be near perfect?
Yeah,
I think we literally said that last time we.
Honestly, they could have kept it. They could have even kept the McPherson if they just chose a better powertrain for that car. You know, sorry, one more real quick. Like, out of all the modern coupes, and I was telling this to Matt before we started the live, like all the modern, like let's just call them like the grassroots cars, right? Because like, I feel like Supra and that stuff is like kind of stepping the more premium sports car. I think the FRS BRZ were like the best looking ones. Size was good, weight was good,
yeah.
Interior was cool. Like that was a cool car. Just they killed like that motor slice. I'm like, why did you do this, Toyota?
Yeah. Do you ever plan on reviewing subscriber cars? Love to hear your thoughts on what you think of other people's builds. We did a few. We used to do that a little bit. I mean, they were more like people we knew.
Yeah. We definitely have reviewed subscriber cars. A lot of the slip angle episodes were subscriber cars.
Yeah.
And we're still open to doing that. We just have to plan a time to do it.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, you can email slipanglemedia@gmail.com and we can set something up.
Favorite track day organization? Best organized amount of time on track for the price is mass tuning. I love Matt. You got to try one.
Matt answered it.
I love mass tuning. Armin is the guy who runs mass tuning. He's a great dude. It's great. I mean, I think most track days average between like 250 and 400 for the expensive one, like Lime Rock for full track, and it's 7 20-minute sessions. Like it's a lot of driving.
Yeah.
It's just I do as many of them a year as I can.
Nice.
So that's what my answer is.
I don't have an opinion.
Where the Genesis at? It's gone. I sold it. Carvana gave me more money than I paid for it, so I just sold it. Is the Honda Fit the new cheap car to race? Went to an event. There's so many. Yeah, it's a big thing now. The Honda Fit.
Quinn said he drove the newer one.
Yeah.
He said it was good, but he's like, it's really slow. You literally, like on Lime Rock, little track, you're full throttle everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Man, Dakota has got a lot of funny questions. He said he wants to talk about arm workouts now. He's got a weird heart rate. And Kevin, thank you. It is a beautiful job. Ever consider a TT? Grid racing comes down to checkbook size. I think they would like a TT. Rudd loves TTs.
I was gonna say when I was young, I wanted one.
Yeah, I like the second gen one a lot more, especially if it's the TTRS, the 5-pot.
I don't know enough about them, but when I was a young buck, I thought that was a really cool.
It was a very different car when it came out. I
Yeah.
remember one of my dad's friends got one right when they came out. I thought it was like really. It felt like it was like an exotic car.
Yeah. That's probably why I wanted one, because I was like into like the real like showboaty cars when I was young.
Yeah, I like the TT. I just picked up a Bone Stock 94 in addition to my NV1 Money Pit turbo car. Trying to sort out the suspension on 94. What spring rates would you guys run? A stockish street car. I think it's more about like, I mean, obviously go softer spring rates if it's going to be more of a street car, but I think it's more of like how it matches with the dampening. Because I run 700 front, 400 rear with my Zeta coilovers for like a dual purpose setup, and it is fantastic on street.
Which is interesting because like that's pretty stiff.
Yep.
I don't know what that translates to kg, but I know it's a lot. I think it's like 56 kg.
I don't know. I'm not
Or
good for that.
56 pounds is 1 kg, something like that. I on my Turbo Miata, I did 8 kg front, 6 kg rear on the Tanes. Oh no, I'm sorry. On my NB, my NB has that set up, and it's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh dang! You sold the Genesis. What do you have now? I have a lot of things now. I bought a Lexus tow rig, a trailer, and I bought this little white FD right here.
And
Quinn.
an Exo set out, right?
And, oh yeah, and I bought Quinn out of the well, my dad bought Quinn out of the Exo set, so that's going to be our track car now. I am planning on selling my '94 turbo car though, and I'm gonna probably do something a little bit more NA and better daily driven.
Like what, Matthew?
Like an NC, that's what I plan on. An NC power
Oh,
track.
an NC. You don't say.
That's probably. I would love to do an S2000. I don't want to do soft tops anymore, and I don't know. We already built an S2000, and we might be
probably building another one.
Might be building another one. So I think a third S2000 might be a little bit too much. I love S2000s.
I think an NC build would be cool. I would like to see an NC build done.
Yeah, like I want.
And then if you do that, we can like do a lot of like videos with that versus the NB. So there's cool content there.
Yeah, I would do ITB and like cams and just a mild NA build.
That would be pretty sweet.
VBR 225 kit is what I think. I think he means time trials. I don't know. I ever think about doing time trials?
Like time attack?
Yeah, we had just talked about that, doing like getting more into like maybe doing grid life, especially now that it's out in Lime Rock. Like it's been here 2 years now, and we haven't even been out.
If we're gonna do that though, my only thing is like, so when you're doing something that has like a competition factor, it changes the approach of the car because you're pushing now.
Yeah.
If it's a track day, it's gentlemen. You're like, it doesn't really matter how fast you go. So you like, you drive 9/10.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to like squeeze every 10th out of that lap time.
Yeah, you start hopping curves.
So my problem is that like, I don't want to duff my, like even my S2000, which is probably the most, like the best like setup track car. If I was going to take a car to the track, of everything that they have. But like, I certainly don't want to crash it at this point because I'm not buying another S2000 and like, I love this car. The FD is like not going on track now, other than the small track at Lime Rock. That's the only track I'll put this on.
Yep. I think if we like wanted to explore that, we should have a dedicated track car. Like we should
like build
crap,
and
like do ridiculous aero on it and stuff.
I mean, I don't even know if we need ridiculous aero, but like it just
I feel like with a time attack, you kind of have to have it.
But like you don't have maybe. How fast is the car? If it's
Yeah,
an all
it
if it's an
depends.
all motor NC, like you definitely don't need aero.
Ideal $30,000 weekend track car. Coolness factor: C506, 996 Carrera, Cayman S, S2K. Some of the options coming from a 2.5 swap NC.
Oh wow.
I like the nine. I think the 987 Cayman S is a good for around 30 grand.
Which one is 987?
That's the first generation Cayman.
Those are the ones that have IMS bearing.
Yeah, after a certain year, you don't have to worry about the IMS bearing as much. But it's one of those things. It's like rod bearings in an M car. Like, just get it done.
Yeah. I drove a 2011 Cayman S, so that was the direct injection one. I think they did direct injection in 2009.
Yeah.
And those ones are no longer IMS bearing failures. And I actually really liked that car. I thought it was a good car. They're all open diff though, so that sucks.
Well, I mean, if you're not drifting, then
no, you need a diff.
This is a weekend track day car.
Dude, a proper sports car needs a diff. Yeah. I've had open diff cars and it's fucking terrible. So, I mean, S2000 is a great track car. You will not be bored in an S2000 on track. And if you're not competing and you don't care, like it's hard to match the driving experience of like a 9,000 RPM F20 screaming on track with an amazing gearbox, and the car is lively. So like it's very engaging to drive. If you want like comfort, then Cayman. What were the other ones? Corvette. I wouldn't buy the Corvette.
C506. He owned one, so
Corvettes are like they're not balanced cars at all. They're fast because they're big engine, big tire, but they are not blissful like driving machines. And they also don't really seem to hold up well with sustained high RPM. They all drop lifters. They do something stupid like push rod is like for street pull, couple gears, and like let off. So I just wouldn't do the Corvette.
All right. We should build a Lotus Elise to compete with the S2K. I like an Elise.
They're cool. I used to like the way they looked a lot. I just don't think they're the same thing. Like the Elise is like not a real balanced car. If you ever watch a video of one, like when the way they transition in and out of oversteer is just like
it's a short wheelbase and mid-engine.
It's a soft fast. Yeah, so like they're fast. The Elise formula is lightweight, short wheelbase, and it's nimble. Those are all open diff too, and Toyota does that because like people crashing a lot more with a diff in it. Not Toyota, Lotus. Doesn't look good for the brand when everybody's crashing the cars.
Yeah. We should do a meetup at Lime Rock. We literally just talked about doing a meetup. We talked about potentially doing like a cars and coffee in the area.
I talked about doing it here at the house, but it's like we'd have to have like a real tight knit group because it's a little bit weird like bringing like strangers into your place. But we're definitely down. We should actually like. Why don't we announce that now? Like, let's plan to do a meet this fall.
Yeah.
We'll pick a venue. We'll find somewhere. If you guys have any suggestions, like send it to us. Like shoot us an IM on our DM on Instagram, or just email us. And if you know anywhere in Connecticut, preferably like kind of more on the northwest corner.
Yeah. So you bought the Lexus, didn't know about the RX-7. That's dope. Thank you. Yeah, I do like that Lexus. I mean, that's kind of like a suggestion from Quinn. But I just wanted a tow rig that can also be like a family vehicle, and I was like, yeah, that kind of works on both those bases. It was a good car.
I mean, if it's worth anything, for the longest time I said I'm only daily driving a sports car. Like I need a sports. Like the RX-8 was like a wonderful daily driver, and then I picked the Lexus up, and like. I never thought I would like an SUV that much, but I mean, it's just like a hard argument to go drive something that stinks, like needs the premix, like all this shit. When it's like I hop into the Lexus, the damn thing is so comfortable, so quiet.
Yep.
It's cool looking. It really changed my whole perspective on it. So like, I guess when you guys are asking why I don't have daily the RX-8 as much anymore, it's because the Lexus makes a real hard argument to like, I don't have to worry about it either. That's another nice thing. With the RX-8, like I got to park far away. I'm always worried about getting door dinged or somebody stealing the advins off of it.
Yep.
It's like the Lexus.
Edgar asked if we've ever been to the Tail of the Dragon in any of your cars. I've been twice. I've drove that trip twice in a red NA Miata without air conditioning, turbocharged one of those times.
I've never been.
That was hot. I love the Tail of the Dragon. It's a cool experience.
Someday, I'm sure we'll get down there.
A lot of the roads surrounding the Tail of the Dragon are really, really good too, and even arguably more scenic. But so we went around the whole area. It was great. And right after that comment, Dan said we should go to the Tail of the Dragon Rotary Rally next year. I didn't know there was a Rotary Rally.
The only problem with that is, I wouldn't want to drive the FD down there. It breaks down. Something happens to this car all the time. It's either an ignition problem, in the process of this whole revamp. What were the issues that we encountered? My MSD failed.
Ignition wire failed.
No, my MSD first failed.
Yeah, that was first.
And then I did new coils in there. Or we did FC coil upgrades, a new MSD. And then my ignition wire crapped out in the middle of tuning, and we didn't know what was going on, but it was breaking up all the time. And then yesterday I was out romping around with Tommy all day, and then towards the end of that drive I started getting ignition break up again. I'm like, what the hell? This car is killing me. But I took it home. I changed plugs in it. I didn't change the plugs before I wanted to, but my very good friend who I trust a lot for tuning, he's like, no, the plugs look fine. I was like, okay, fine, leave them in. But yeah, it was plugs last night.
I was wrong about the Cayman generations, by the way. It's 986 that has the IMS issues. 987s are the second gen, and 987.2 is the S.
Those are direct injection, so I don't know if they need they get all carboned up.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do a diff in it. Probably cost you a couple grand, but just you could do that. Some of them had an LSD, but very few.
Yeah. Joe said, apologize if this has been asked already. Have you either of you tried a 992 GT3 with its double A-arm setup?
I only drove a 991 in that review. It's on the channel. It's before Matt was even involved.
Yeah, I haven't driven it.
But I'll just say this, the 991 was already too good of a car. It's a cheater car.
Cheater cars, yeah.
And I say cheater cars, they just do everything really damn good out of the box. Where you get a car like the S2000 or the RX-8, it's you got to do suspension, you got to do bolt-ons, you got to do all these things, right? It's that 991 was you didn't have to really touch anything. I mean, I probably would because I'm a racer like that, but I'm sure the double A-arm one is even better in terms of well, I'll say this. My one thing that I have had a takeaway from driving any 911 is that they push on their slow speeds, which is something I don't love for the street. When you come from driving a Miata or an S2000, slow second gear corners are your best friend. You have the most fun, getting a little sideways around the corner.
Yeah.
You can't really do that so much in the 911s, the earlier ones. So I'm sure that them switching to the A-arms will probably really help with that low speed turning. And again, they run giant staggers because it's rear engine, the balance is off. So they're give or take. What do you want out of the car?
Yeah. NC2 or ND1 Miata for similar money, is the ND2 worth the premium? I say no to that question. Not for an ND1.
No, don't buy an ND1.
Yeah, I would
just
say,
don't buy one.
NC2 is probably worth it. I think that's why they're similar in price. I think
ND2 is finally.
Yeah, ND2
stock speed out of an ND2 is that's okay.
Yeah,
you're kind of an AP1 S2000. I mean, very different power delivery, but the ND2, I can't believe how they made it so small. The NC had
smaller.
Yeah,
and the passenger side is it has this weird hump on it too, which is a little weird. My dad doesn't really like that.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah. Also, the ND1s I think had transmission issues too.
They did.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure there's a kit to swap an NC transmission, an NC 6-speed into an ND, which seems counterintuitive to me, but NC.
I would probably go with the NC. I mean, again, NC RX-8 suspension, great proportions. I think NCs look really good with a lip and a nice set of wheels and lowered. And you have the option to feasibly do K-swap stuff.
Yeah.
You can even put a Renesis into NC. It will take an RX-8 subframe.
And there's decent options with the 2-liter too.
Yep.
Supposedly, if I mean, I'm really curious if like these BBR numbers are like askew.
Yeah.
Like because 225 wheel.
Yep.
Out of the stock 2 liter.
I mean,
that'd be a good car.
I would if I but you have a little bit more weight in the NC, so that's the one downside of the NC is that it's a little bit heavier than the other Miatas. But again, for what you're trying to do with it, I'm sure it's fine. I just say this because I ran into this issue with my NB. It's like 185 sounds really good in a 2,200 pound car, but it's like it's not enough.
Yeah.
On track, it's fine. Like when we were at Toronto at Speed Academy, like, and I hadn't been on track in a while, like the car was fast for me on track. You know, but then it's like I get into like the S2000, like the S2000, like 60 more horsepower, and it's pretty good, but I'm still like shit. Like I wish I had more horsepower.
Yeah.
I gotta take a quick break. I'll be right back. Yeah, entertain.
Oh, entertain. Oh God, what am I gonna do? I
Back in
don't
2 minutes.
talk as much as you do.
2 minutes.
All right.
You can hold the fort down.
These are all questions for Quinn. He does not still have the red AP2 anymore. Miata is going to release their K-swap for the NC, offering a stock red line and balance shaft for a Type S pump. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. They're trying to retain as many of like either the stock K24 parts as they can. 8250 or 100 RPM red line. What do you think about the NC with a 7200 RPM red line K24 A2? I think it should be really good. I mean, Quinn and I have been saying literally forever, like the NC would be better off with the K series. It'd almost be like an S2000. All right. Find a way to tow your FD down there to the Dragon. Yeah, the Dragon's really awesome. And there is something about like when there's meets down there. I've done Miatas at the Gap, and there's just a bunch of screaming Miatas. I'm sure a bunch of screaming rotaries will be better, but it's cool. Dude, okay, so I'm gonna go to this more recent question from Dan. It's with Quinn gone. How are you going to get him out more, drive on track, etc.? I've been asked. I literally try and get him to join every single track day that I do. We're just both busy, you know. He's got a lot going on with his. He's got a side business that he does along with this and his full-time job. He's got his fiance and everything. It's just life, you know. Life is tough, but I do push all the time to try and get him on track. So I will continue to do that, and we are going to be doing a build pretty soon that will hopefully you know, kind of reignite a flame a little bit, maybe that might have gone out. Just smash the like button. He has been saying as long as I've been subscribed that he doesn't have time to drive. I call BS. Ditto. Yeah, you know, he does. He took the FD out, you know, twice in this weekend. He was out ripping with Tommy yesterday, and you know, took it out the day before as well. So there's hope. White FD build. It hasn't been coming along because I just recently had my third kid, so I've been a little preoccupied with that. I did show earlier. I'll show again. I do have a bunch of stuff here for the white FD. Garrett turbo. Got some Turbo Smart external wastegate, blow-off valve, and a few other parts. I will be working with Derek from TDO Performance for the fab work that's going to be done on that. I just have to. I have a trailer. This thing doesn't run, obviously. I have a trailer. It does not fit in that trailer, so I have to borrow somebody else's trailer. I'm still trying to work out logistics with that. But once I get that over to Derek, get the fab work for the manifold, external wastegate setup and downpipe done, as well as the intercooler piping and everything. The V-mount setup is all bolted in, so it should be, you know, everything's there. Just gotta have Derek do the fab work. And then after the fab work's done, then I'm gonna work on all the little nitty-gritty things like getting the interior back together and all the other, like, everything else in the engine bay and the tank and the suspension. And it's gonna be a big project. It's gonna take a little while, but yeah, I would really like to take the next step in this thing. Where is this here? Let's see. Congrats on the baby. Thank you. So Matt, do you plan on taking out the red Miata now or the Exo set with your dad now? I do plan on switching all my track days over to the Exo set actually. I'm going to be taking the Zetas out of the red car, the big brakes I think out of the red car, and that's all going into the Exo set, which is going to be more of a dedicated track car. And I'm probably going to get rid of the red Miata because it's a super low mileage, no rust car, and those cars are going for good money right now. So I am going to be selling that, and then probably replacing with something that has like air conditioning and power steering, like an NC. I thought about an S2000, but with Quinn's S2000, and then the next build that we have coming up, which is also going to be an S2000. It didn't seem feasible to do a third S2000. As much as we love these cars, but yeah, I'll be doing something. Let's see. Where's the GR86? I had I tried to get a GR86 right when they came out. I went to a Toyota dealer. I put a deposit down on one. They told me it would be approximately 3 to 5 months. But 8 months in, and they still couldn't tell me. They couldn't give me a delivery date, and I was just fed up. I mean, the RTV thing was kind of I've seen a couple of them blow their engines on track. I don't know if it's directly because of the whole RTV issue. That didn't really scare me all that much because I planned on just dropping the oil pan at the first oil change and just doing that consecutively and just collecting any RTV that might have built up in the sump. But it was just a matter of like they just couldn't tell me when it was going to happen. I just couldn't wait anymore. I hadn't like driven a sports car in a while, so I just called it off. Let's see. Congrats. Thank you. For your S2000, did you get a custom titanium fitment for the intake? Custom titanium fitment for the intake? It's not said that.
What about titaniums?
Did you get a custom titanium fitment for the intake?
Oh, we were talking about having Derek. Derek made one or something.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Didn't it have a water bottle on
Yeah, I don't know.
Awesome. Yeah, let me check.
Same thing somewhere. NA got it in.
It's still on. It's still a possibility. I'm probably just going to eventually just do ITBs in the car, and I'm not buying.
Oh, there we go. Have you heard of the Alpine A110? I have heard of that. It weighs 2,400 pounds. It's a shame they are not available in the U.S. And it's auto. I didn't know it was auto only. I like the look of it too. It's got kind of a.
Aren't those all-wheel drive?
I thought they were mid-rear or rear.
Am I thinking of the right thing? You saw Alpina?
Alpine.
Not Alpina.
No, it's Alpine.
Oh, because it ends in an E, right?
Yeah.
That was in Gran Turismo.
He doesn't watch Formula One. That's another thing I'm trying to do is get him to watch Formula One.
I used to watch Formula One when it was cool.
The last race was good. If there's any Formula One fans out there, the race on Sunday was awesome. Like that was the most exciting race. I had to stand up on the last few laps because it was just so exciting. It was finally. I like Red Bull. Don't get me wrong, but it was nice to see another team win.
I used to watch Formula One when the engines were still naturally aspirated in V10s and V8s.
Yeah, well, obviously that's better. Like those hybrid V6s don't sound as good. Looking to get a fun winter car that can overland. He's saying LX470 or GX470?
LX.
GX.
No, they're both good.
Yeah, they're both good. I mean, mine's got the VVTi engine, so it's a little bit more powerful, but that's just because it's a newer car. I kind of wish I did an LX570 for the extra power for towing.
That's a badass rig.
Yeah, it's basically a big Tundra. It's actually a Tundra, but it's an SUV.
No,
although
it's a Land Cruiser. It's not. It doesn't share the.
Well, the 5.7 is the same. It's the same 5.7.
Same engine, but the frame and everything is different. Like yours is a 4Runner frame.
Yeah, 4Runner.
Land Cruiser is their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever get track insurance? Oh no, I have not done track insurance. Because I figure if I huff a Miata into a wall, it's not really that big a deal. I also only drive it like 8 to 9/10 most of the time. I leave a little bit on the table because like I'm just trying to improve my driving. But no, although Kevin, remember Kevin? You're friends with Kevin too. He the Evo, red Evo.
Oh yeah.
He did have track insurance and then crashed his Evo at one point,
And they paid him out.
paid him out. Like that was very useful for him.
Yeah.
So you should if you
I
got anything.
I probably would if I was going to put like this on track.
Yeah.
Because that's like the biggest. That's like why I'm not gung ho about doing track days, is because I don't want to do this all over again. I don't want to rebuild, and I don't know if I would rebuild. You know, and it's like the thought of duffing something into the wall is not very appealing.
Yeah, I figure with enough grip, like you're not gonna, you don't have to go 10.
But like, here's the problem though. It's like it doesn't even have to be you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
On one of my track days, I had a guy in a Volkswagen Beetle, the newer ones, right, when they like made them whatever, TD, like the turbo one, blow a coolant hose in front of me and like completely covered my windshield in coolant. And coolant doesn't, when you wipe it with your windshield wipers, it just smears.
Yeah.
You know, I had to stick my head out the window to like steer off to like a safe place. You know, they can dump oil. Somebody like dumps oil on the track, doesn't matter how grippy your tires are. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. It's just something to think about.
You got to go. I think you got to do the right track and everything. Because also, like Watkins Glen was kind of scary. I didn't realize this until I went to Watkins Glen last year. But they have like a whole price list if you like spill oil or if you hit like any barriers or anything like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, it's that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to stop somebody from spilling oil if they're going to blow their engine up. They're going to blow their engine up. They're going to blow their engine up.
Yeah, I'm just saying like the costs and like it can be worse than just losing your car.
Oh yeah.
The Alpines are auto, rear engine, rear drive.
That's interesting.
Does a hardtop rattle in your S2000?
I wouldn't say it rattles. It sometimes creaks a little bit, but it's not too bad. When you go above like 115, 120, it starts to like feel like it's going to get ripped off of the car. So that's why like I actually wonder if like that cracked the Lexan in the back.
When you beat the ever living piss out of this
When
thing
I was
for like an hour straight.
Yeah, like when I was like going down the hill, like and like doing like I don't know, I think I hit like 125 or something like that. But like I don't know, was the dip or like the hardtop was making the noise?
Yeah. Yeah. Need tail of the dragon content. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool trip. LX all the way. We should do a Dodge Stealth RT turbo. They're they're bigger. I don't know. I don't have much experience with those.
I had a 3000 GT.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that's right. You did.
In high school, I had a 92 3000 GT SL, and man, that thing was bad. Well, I shouldn't say. My particular example was pretty bad. Maybe they're better if you buy like a cleaner car. I bought, this is 2002. I bought that car. And it was 4150. So if that tells you anything, like most of them were like around 10,000 at the time.
Yeah.
But it's not something I have any interest in getting involved in.
We talked about Sims earlier. Have one? I do.
I haven't used it, but Sims are great.
Yeah. I just bought a nice widescreen curved monitor for it.
You did?
Yeah. I run off PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. I've got a little like emulator thing that can actually allow the wheel to switch between console types.
If we get this cleaned up in here and the dirty work out there, we should build a dual
that would
Sim
be cool.
station to battle.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I love Sims. Chris wants to get a GS400.
Mm-hmm.
I love Lexus.
Lexus makes Toyota, but yeah, they make good stuff.
If you could fit an E90X M3 V8 into a lightweight rear-wheel drive platform, what would it be? FRS. Although I don't know what those engines weigh. You have to see the weight, see if it would like throw off the balance.
It fully dressed weighs a little bit more than my S65, or I'm saying S54. That is an S65.
Because that is aluminum block, right?
It's aluminum. Yeah. So my inline six iron block is like. Well, that's the thing, though. If you just do engine per engine, my engine's heavier. It's like 20 pounds heavier than that. But when the 65 fully dressed is a little bit heavier, I think, than my motor. I would put it in my Z4M coupe. I think that'd be a cool engine for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or like a 1 Series would be kind of cool too, like a 135.
People have done that.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on crashes and incidents during HPDE? Seems like every time there are a few cars that get written off. How do you like to manage risk and improve your driving? It's always a balance. Like you either, if you really want to improve your driving, you have to push harder. I think the trick is to try and have like a platform and or like tire compound that like progressively loses grip if you can.
Honestly, alignment.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with track days only, alignment. So, I fell into the same mistakes. I went on the internet, like, how should I align my car? Most alignment recommendations on a front engine rear-wheel drive car, they call for less negative camber in the front than they do in the rear. And it's fine. It's safe if you're not going to try to explore the limits, if you're going to drive at an 8/10 pace. But if you want to explore limits in your car and you want to learn how to like control a slide and oversteer, that is the worst alignment to have. It makes the car way more dangerous. So that's a biggie right there. 200 good grippy 200 tread wear tires will tame a really tail happy car down too. So keep it like more in line. But again, those 200 tread wear tires, if you want to try to explore oversteer limits in them, you're going to make the car more hairier. The best thing for me as a driver was going to Lime Rock at the small track venue.
Yeah.
That taught me more car control than years of autocrossing, than years of doing open track days, and years of racing and spec Miata, because it's, when you're in a higher speed scenario like that, or you're competing, you're not doing knucklehead stuff. Where like the venue at Lime Rock is so easy and chill, and there's runoff everywhere. It's like a great venue. I mean, and I understand not everybody has the leisure of having a venue like that, but
There are tracks though that are similar to that type of thing, just maybe a little bit bigger. Like I know in New Hampshire, Canaan is a very similar track. Like it's tons of runoff. It's much lower speed. It's much tighter. Like a track like that. Like looking for a track like that to explore the limits is much safer.
Yes.
Favorite front wheel drive car. B13 Nissan Sentra SER.
So I will say I would normally have said an EG6 Civic Si hatch, because I had 4 or 3 of them, but I don't know, that Type R, that EK Type R was
I forgot about that.
pretty damn good.
Damn it. How did I forget about Hondas when we're talking about front wheel drive cars? Yeah. Integra Type R, Civic Type R.
Yeah, or Integra Type DC2s are beautiful cars.
Yeah,
I think
they
they're
are.
super sweet.
Yep. I have a friend of a friend who has probably like one of the cleanest DC2 Integra Type Rs ever. He's in Connecticut. It's like he did like every single nut and bolt is brand new in that thing. It's crazy. Yeah, and someone else said Integra Type R.
I like the Civic Si sedans the first year of those. Those are cool.
Oh yeah. FK5.
Maybe
Civic SIs.
it was
Yeah,
after
the K20.
it was after the minivan one.
Yeah, K20.
Yeah,
K20,
I just thought they were sharp.
Yeah, those are cool. And RSX Type S, those are cool.
RSX is a pretty car too.
Yeah.
The suspension tuning on them was like a little bit more weird, but I'm sure like I say that about there's like so many cars. I'm like, oh, the suspension was never that great, but it's like you just put modern tires on and decent coilovers and whatever corrections for it. Like I'm sure you can fix it.
From a 128i is an easy choice, dude. To do an M3 arm. Yeah, I like the 128i for that. I think that's a good option for a track car.
You were talking about that.
230 horsepower, naturally aspirated. Like it's, they came in a 6-speed with the whatever that package was. That's a good car.
Yep.
NASA is introducing their national track insurance towards the end of the year. It's intended to not cover your personal vehicle, but cover any track damage it may cause. Additional $50. Definitely worth it if you're at Watkins Glen. First gen Cayenne versus LS GS 470. Cayenne, a first gen Cayenne versus the LX or GX.
Oh, I would take a Lexus any day over the Porsche, just from like a reliability and like ease of bullshit standpoint.
Yeah.
My Lexus Fred 98 it just runs so damn good, and even like the bushings and the suspension are all like very, very good on it. Rides nice for an SUV with that many miles and that age.
Favorite hot hatch. I'm sorry, I'm skipping over a few of these. I just want to make sure we Nissan P13. Forgot about those. Yeah, that's right. Those are cool. My first car was a Sentra, and I wish I got it handed down from my parents. It was still a manual, but it was the base 1.6 version, and I cannot believe they did not get the SER. It had a limited slip differential and an SR20 naturally aspirated. It's a great handling car. Like all the car and driver loved that car.
Yeah.
All right. If you lose the motor in the SDK, what would you do? K swap it.
No. What the fuck? I don't like K series. Everybody's all obsessed about K.
I'm not saying that it's like I just think it's the one that makes the most sense. Like how much is a used F20?
I would literally get another block, like if this ever blew up. I would maybe do a 2.2 at that point.
Yeah.
And like rev it to 9,000 still. I think it would stay together. Like I shouldn't say I hate the K. I like the K, right? But I don't like the K better than the F. The F is a nicer engine. I don't care anybody.
Yeah, you were showing me the way that the gearing works for the cams, and that is different in the F series. It's pretty cool.
The F is like a real racing engine. It's got pancake Formula One style pistons, forged rods, like forged pistons. Like it's got Kevlar reinforced sleeves that are low friction. Like it's sweet. You don't get that shit on the K.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite hot hatch?
EG6.
EG6.
Sid.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I were doing a hot hatch, I feel like I'd have to do like a Golf GTI. Like I don't know which version. Like everybody hates.
I like my friend's. I like Dan's Golf R. That's a nice car.
Yeah. But Golf R's all-wheel drive. Hot hatches. I guess it doesn't really matter.
But a hatch.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not talking about from a drive like whatever like drivetrain. I'm just saying it's a cool hatch.
I like the GTIs because they got like the plaid seats and the golf ball wheel or the golf ball shifter and stuff. I just feel like a GTI.
Yeah, no, they're nice too. They make practical dailies. Yeah. I definitely wanted one when I was younger.
Thoughts on a BRZ for a base project car? Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. We said it's like one of the coolest like coupes.
Yeah, it's just the engine is like the weak point of it. But if you have a feasible solution to do a different drivetrain like or powertrain like. Again, the K stuff might be. I say that, but I don't know what the car weighs with the K, and if it's still 2,800 pounds, like an NAK like may not be that awesome in there.
Yeah, it sheds weight though, I think. But
yeah.
Let's see. Chris is glad you're getting a Supra. Karting, an affordable way to improve driver skill. Yeah, we should do some kart. They opened a new karting place right down the road from me.
Really?
Yeah, in Avon.
No shit.
Yeah, Avon in 44. Has anyone been to the Avon? I don't know if everybody's from Connecticut, but like there's a new karting place in Avon, Connecticut. It's literally like a 5-minute ride down the road from me. I haven't been there yet. Yeah, we should check it out.
So I actually used to race cars. I don't know if people know that. I autocross. I got my first competition feet wet in autocross, but I started racing karts when I was 23. I ran road tracks.
Road tracks.
Well, it was tag. The class was called tag, so it's touch and go. So I didn't have to have I had an actual electronic starter on the car.
Oh, nice.
And it was non-geared. Like so, it was single gear.
Yeah.
Not 6 speed or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was the 30 horsepower road tracks engine in it. Perillo Leopard was the engine that I had.
Nice.
And man, that thing it's a 2-stroke. But when that got to like 9,000 to 16,000, that power band was like juicy on that thing. I would literally at 23 years old, I would come home from a weekend of racing cars and like just be sore.
Yeah.
Everywhere for like weeks, not like the indoor carts where you are a little bit when you haven't gone in a while, but like racing something like that. Oh my word!
I did it once.
We did.
Yeah, it was a mass tuning track day, and during lunch they had a similar cart. It was a 2-stroke.
Yeah.
But it was a single gear.
Yeah.
It was one that was a shifter car just modified with a single gear. And I did like a 15-minute stint in the thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't move.
Oh yeah, you are like you come back, you're like, what the French happened to me?
Yeah.
I did a 50-lap Ironman race. I actually placed third. That was one of the only few times I actually podiumed in kart racing.
Yeah.
It was a 50-lap Ironman race, dude. By lap, like after lap 12, everybody's just trying to finish the damn race. Like the lap times dropped for everybody. Even the kid who like won it, who was like an excellent driver, his like everybody's lap times like slowed down. Karting is serious. But I will say this: karting will give you the teach you how to like race cleanly, wheel to wheel. Because it's really it's even more devastating if you catch tires on when you're racing cars. I actually went under a guy during one of my races going into a corner. Two guys like got tires and the guy like went airborne. I went underneath him a little bit and then he like landed and fell out of the car and like crunched his spine a little. But it will teach you the wheel-to-wheel racing aspect. But I would argue you can kind of get that in indoor karting to a degree, although the tracks are usually narrow on indoor karting. But as far as car control, a car slides like just little quick angles, and that's about it. They don't like drift the same way a car does.
It's better for wheel to wheel, like learning how to like.
It's not good, and I say that because of the car. If you're going to hang a big drift out to learn car control, you have to learn to let go of that wheel and shuffle. You have to learn to shuffle your hands on a cart. You just don't do that. This is the amount of lock that you have.
Someone asked about Paladin, CMMG at Mark 17.
Yeah.
Any updates
on the Paladin?
Yeah.
What was he asking about the CMMG for?
Any updates on the Paladin CMMG?
Oh, he's probably talking about the 9mm conversion.
Oh, yeah.
We can do it. We can make it happen. We've tested it. We haven't like made handguards or like dialed in an official production formula for it, but we can make the CMMG 9mm radial. Is it radial? I think they call it the radial delayed blowback.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I
like guns. I like shooting them.
Anyways, the answer is yes. We can just give us a call if you want one and put it together.
You guys ever get DSMs?
I have my 3000 DT.
I just did a clutch in an Evo 10.
I used to like
STO
Talons and Eclipses.
Yeah. I like the wedges, the 1Gs.
Yeah. I wanted a Fast and Furious Eclipse like so bad.
Oh yeah, second gen.
So bad, but like one of my good friends growing up, he had a 1G Eclipse, and we used to go race people on the turnpike in it. Yeah, that car was cool.
Yeah.
His brother had one too. He had a Talon. My stepbrother had an Eagle Talon for a little while.
Yeah. Remember when it used to be a Plymouth Laser too?
Yeah.
The Plymouth Laser, Mitsubishi Eclipse, and Eagle Talon, like all in the same year.
The Talons are like the cool one. I felt like they had.
Oh yeah, the Talons were the cool one. They had something different with the front grille. Like it just looked like cooler.
Yeah.
It was different. Yeah, I always wanted the Talon. Have you ever driven a Lotus Evora on the road or track? What's your opinion? You like the Lotus? I saw an Evora S at Capping and Carburetors. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked the Evora. They to me they were kind of like a modern day NSX, where like they're not like too heavy. I think they're right around that 3,000, 3,100 pound mark. Yeah. Mid-engine, exotic, smaller. That was why I always liked the NSX is smaller. Mm-hmm. I wanted an Evora for a little while, and they were coming down. They were like in the 30s at one point. I bought this place instead. I kind of put the kibosh on any like bigger car purchases. But you know, they're all open diff.
Yeah.
Ryan King doesn't like them, and he's driven a few of them.
Oh, really? I thought he liked Evoras.
I thought so too, but every time he says he's driven one, he's like, they suck. And he said they all have like interior quality issues, like the leather peels off of the dash. And even in Car and Driver, I remember like, I think it was 2011 Car and Driver's Car of the Year. Like they gave the Evora last. So it was like really wonky the way it like handled. I'm sure it can be set up. Like that's the thing. Like I'm sure anything can be set up.
Money.
And I'm sure the Evora like would be a pretty sweet car, especially like I don't know what they cost now though. If the car is more than 40 grand for like a regular Evora, like not an S, it's probably too much money.
Yeah. F series sounds less raspy than the K series. Yeah, I would agree with that from what I've heard.
Yeah. But I mean, F series still has some rust.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a Honda.
Yeah.
Is your current seat setup in the S your favorite? I hate fitting seats. Yes, I hate that too. Those seats work in there.
I lucked out.
Yeah.
That was like dumb luck that all worked. I like basically got that together with parts, and I bought like some like just what are those like universal like they're for the car. The brackets are for the car.
Oh yeah.
But you have to put whatever on it. They just have a whole bunch of notches in them. I think Planted makes them.
Oh, there's a bunch of companies that make them.
Yeah, so they're like a Planted style seat bracket, but
They're not.
I had universal sliders that came with something else. I chopped the tabs off of them because they're for a car, and I put them on these Recaros, and like it dropped. The only Achilles with that is they're probably heavier than the stock seats because of the seat base and then the sliders.
Yeah.
But they look good in the car. They're comfortable. Although Recaro SR3s, the head is hard. So if you actually want to lean back and rest your head on it, like I don't know if you did, it's like the backing is really hard. There's no cushion in it. But they lowered me. So that was the thing. They lower you. That setup lowers you more than the stock seats, and that was a much welcome change. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to go to other than like a bucket, but like I really just hate bucket seats at this point. Don't love them.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
So Dan, who was talking about who asked about the BRZ, is planning on doing a K24 swap. That's cool.
Sick.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of expensive, but like if you find the right car, with maybe like a blown engine.
I've seen clean body blown engine ones for like $5,000 on Facebook
Yeah,
Marketplace.
there's one for $4 that I tried to get from the guy, but like it just looked like it had been like in an accident.
Oh, there was that orange. It was orange, but like it was clean body. It was $5,000.
What's your favorite tool that you bought for car work?
That's a great
electric ratchet.
Yeah,
I got a Milwaukee M12 electric ratchet. That thing's been a game changer for me.
Electric ratchet definitely makes a big difference. I probably have to say the same thing.
We got people having conversations in here.
This is a great little live we got going on here.
We're almost caught up.
We weren't even sure what we were going to do tonight.
What's a rough estimate for the max power you can get out of an S2 without putting a turbo or supercharger? I mean, what would ITBs add? Maybe an extra 5 at the top.
I think you could do 240 to 250 on an F20.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the last thing I could do would be ITBs. They would get me over 240 horsepower, probably be around 245 at the wheels. An AP2 will get you to that I think you could break 250 on it, all tuned up. And then you have to like do internals on it, higher compression. I don't really know what else you can do for power adders at that point. NOS.
What's a power adder? 240, 250. Yeah. What happened to the slip angle wheels on the S? They're over there.
We have them.
Yeah.
We were supposed to do a video on them. We just never did it. We should. We really should do that.
Yeah. We talk about it.
Yeah. So we went. The only thing is that we went through a guy who goes through another guy. So it makes logistics a little bit of a pain in the ass, and it cuts into like margins because we have to pay him instead of going directly to the manufacturer. But we did the design. That's our design now. It's like a 5-spoke TE37 with the spoke just brought out a little bit farther to the outer rim to like exaggerate the concave a little bit more. If you did it in like a bigger width and offset, the concave is like it's sick looking.
Yeah, we should do a set for the white FD.
We should. That's probably how we should like kind of introduce that, and I should just like pony up and order a set for the black FD.
Yeah.
Have 2 sets of wheels for it. And then you should do a set for this too.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something unique.
We'll do them. If you look at the price of like TE37s, you're paying for a set of 17 TE37s at least $3,000. These wheels would be priced somewhere around 2,400, 2,500, but they're fully forged 6061 aluminum. We could do them in like just about any finish. They could do anything. They can match Volk bronze finishes. They could do all sorts of stuff with it, which is cool. So we'll do them. It's just we just need them. We have to get like I think it's like 5 to 10 sets to do production runs, and they can be like kind of varying sizes, but within reason. So.
What's the best ECU for an AP1?
Best ECU?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I love my Haltech. Yeah. If you don't have to deal with emissions bullshit, get the Haltech Platinum Pro plug and play.
I feel like that's what most people are running nowadays on like everything. Haltech is just. It's really, really good.
Yeah, Haltech, and mine's a little bit older at this point, so they probably have like an even like newer version of it that's like I'm sure even better. But Honda Honda is a pain in the ass on this. At least it was at the time. You had to use like an RSX ECU, and it's like it was expensive to do Honda, and you had to swap a whole bunch of shit. But Honda will let you pass emissions.
Mm-hmm.
You get that factor. It'll meet the OBD2 stuff. But here's the thing, on an all motor S2000, like even this car with the Brian Crower cams when I had in it, fully catless with just an O2 spacer, I was able to just pull my Haltech out, throw the stock ECU in it, drive it around for a little while, go to emissions, pass, and then come back and then just pop the ECU in and out. It's quick to change the ECU when it's fully plug and play. So I was able to pass emissions with just an O2 follower. If you're not doing forced induction, then like whatever, it's not that big of a deal.
If you were to do a budget S2K, what would you consider, and what would be a nice to have? Like what have you done to yours, but it's a long process to get to that level? Like what, I guess like saying what would be the first things you do?
Yeah.
The quick, things, S2000 modifications on the budget.
I would do, I forget the name, I think maybe it's Takeda. Somebody makes a plastic and like big plastic airbox intake setup for it. And it's like ram air. I would do that with just the snorkel. You get the snorkels off of eBay for cheap. That, like, they work with the factory airbox, but they also work with that other one. I do those 2 mods for the intake. I would get the Blade header, and I'd probably do the Blade, catback exhaust too, because I just think it works really well for what it is. Flows enough, and it's not unbearable by any means. And then the tuning stuff. So like that covers that. You don't have to do the cams. You don't have to do the compression shit like I did. That gets you probably 90% of the way.
That's a good call.
For power.
Just let it breathe a little bit more.
Yep, and it'll sound good.
Yep.
You save a lot of weight just by going to the single exhaust. And then for suspension, I get these Blade coilovers. You don't have to do all the sphericals. The sphericals that's like not for the faint of heart. I would get good brake pads, like Hawk HP Plus are probably fine. You don't need the Blade big brakes or anything like that. And I would do the coilovers, but I would do a front sway bar. I have an Ibach bar on here, just a bigger bar.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the stock rear bar, or go to an AP2 rear bar. The car has too much rear bar. AP1s have too much rear bar out of the box. And then I would probably look at doing the extended ball joints for the rear that give you full travel from Blade. And then I guess they're knuckle adjusters in the front, the knuckle extenders in the front.
Extra negative camber in the front.
Yeah. So you can align it to where you want. So like and the steering rack spacer, I have a box one to account for the bump steer. Although this car didn't really bump steer that bad. My height's like definitely lower than stock. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not that bad. You can install all that stuff in like a weekend.
Yeah. Thinking about putting stock FD wheels on in my NC2. Thoughts? I saw someone on Reddit did that recently, and it looks fucking awesome. Actually,
stock FD wheels.
Stock FD wheels, the 5-spoke stock FD wheels on an NC2. I like, it's so funny you brought that up.
I'm having a hard time picturing what the stock FD wheels look like. It's been so long since I've seen them.
They were on your car. I saw a picture of your car before with those wheels. I think the black car. I'm pretty sure when it had the stock bumper on it and everything.
Oh,
a long time ago. Like, you showed me an old picture.
Yeah, I mean, they're light. They're not heavy wheels.
Yeah, it looks good though. It's just funny. I've literally seen that recently. It looks good.
I've always liked RPF ones though for like a cheap wheel.
Yeah. RPF ones like as long as they're flat faced.
17 by 945.
Yep,
they fit. Although it's a 16 FD wheel 16 by 8. Do they make decent 16-inch tires now?
I have to look. I don't know.
That was always a struggle for me with the 16s on the NB.
Michael likes the Advans and TE style cues of our wheels. That's awesome. Yeah, exactly what we like. You guys ever saw a spoon collar to the suspension? I believe it's supposed to improve handling. Spoon collar?
He's talking about the rigid collars. So what those are, they go into
the subframes.
Yeah, the subframes.
I'm
sure they do something.
I did it in the Genesis in the rear rear subframe because there's a lot of like flex in there, and it helped wheel hop.
Rigid collars then?
Yeah, I swear, like
How
I
that,
noticed something different.
I think that's just.
I think it was because I think that car's a lot different though than this because like that.
I don't see how that would. That's supposed to. So the whole philosophy behind that is they say that under heavy cornering with grippy tires and suspension, the subframe shifts back and forth.
Yeah.
So like your alignment like changes a little bit. I don't know if it's going to help wheel hop.
I swear that was like one of the things, and I noticed it.
Are you sure it wasn't that bushing thing that you did back there?
Well, I did both of those things.
Yeah, that probably was more a result of the wheel hop.
Okay, Quinn. All right.
What do you guys think? Do you think that rigid collars help with wheel hop, or they just help like keep your alignment more intact and car maybe?
I think they do both.
All right. Well, I didn't get rigid collars. I looked at doing it. I didn't do it. Maybe when we're bored, we'll get them and we'll report back.
Wolf Party's got T37s with OG bronze on his S2000. That's awesome.
That's OG bronze T37s were like the best. Actually, I had a conversation with Tommy about that yesterday because I'm like, what's the difference? The old always look better. They were like whatever the OG bronzos with like an anodized lip. It looks good. That's what LZ had on his Evo. And I was like, remember I said LZ's T's looked like so good on that Evo.
Yeah.
The new bronze is called Blast Bronze, and it's like it's completely different.
Michael loves his Haltech Platinum Pro.
Yeah, I have pretty good experience with mine too.
Oh, here we go. Here we got a hypothetical. You had a choice between a 1993 Corvette ZR1, 1992 3000 GT VR4.
Wait, hold on. He said 1993, so C4 ZR1?
C4 ZR1.
Okay.
A 92 3000 GT VR4 or a 2000 Trans Am WS6. Which would you choose?
Oh my God.
I mean, I like rear-wheel drive, so it'd either be the Vet or the Trans Am for me. I like the look of the WS6.
The C4 Corvette is like a real enthusiast car. You gotta like the C4. The ZR1 was definitely cool. That they did that back then. The motor was cool.
I did a Firebird just because it's a proper LS and it looked cool with the Ram Air, the WS6.
I don't want any of these cars. I'm sorry. Like, listen, I'm not knocking you. Like, I'm just particular. Everybody's got their own things, right? If you like it, then by all means, go for it. If I had to pick one of those three, I would probably take the 3000 GT just because I had one. And like, I've seen some like modded up 3000 GTs with like TDs and stuff. I'm like, okay, they look cool.
Yeah. I just go back to what was that Ultimate Street Car Challenge by Sport Compact Car when
the guy with the white convertible one,
the convertible one,
and he like lied about everything.
He's just understeering in a giant circle.
Dude, that was I can't tell you how many times I read that article because I was like, this thing's 600 horsepower and all this other stuff, and the guy just like made like all these bogus claims and yeah. And he said like there was like some quote in there like he'll like steal your girls with the top down while he's smiling or something like that.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Oh my word.
Dan says the slip angle wheels are nice. Hoping for a spec MX-5 wheels would fit the S2K, but the S2K fitment is rough. Yeah, you have to. It's not a very aggressive offset. You can't really fit many aggressive offsets on the S2000.
Oh, the slip angle wheels would be good on an NC. We could do a 9 and with like a 45, and they would have good concave on them.
Yeah, there's not a lot of concave options for NC.
Oh. Ooh. We should get on that. We should get on doing the wheel thing. Even if we don't make a lot of money on it, like who cares? They're cool wheels, and like for fully forged wheels, like we should do that.
Best place to find a clean S2K, bring a trailer, forums, specials. I think forums.
I sometimes see like
Facebook Marketplace. Maybe.
I was going to say, I've found for most of my car purchases, I've lucked out, but in like I've gotten like that good deal on something where it's like too good to pass up, but it takes time.
Yeah. You
just have to keep looking on a regular basis. It becomes tedious, but if you like it pays off if you can stick with it. Like I sent you that AP2 the other day on Facebook Marketplace for 24 grand with 55,000 miles on it. Deal. I was like, this is pretty darn good deal.
Yep.
And it was mostly stock.
Yep. If you didn't go Blade, would you have stuck with Jay's Racing?
On the header? Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that Jay's Racing header wasn't a bad header. And I would argue that the timing correction gear from Belade fixed most of my stuff. I do think though that the Belade header optimizes low end and mid range better than the J's, but the J's probably outfloated up top. I just couldn't really, my setup was handicapped because I shaved the head and I ran a thinner head gasket, the spoon one, so that retards your cam timing, and you lose I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, but like I lost a lot of power on this car, not really knowingly.
Adjustable cam gear.
That Belade adjustable cam gear like corrected all that and like brought a lot of that back. But I do think that their header, the Belade header, works a lot better down low, and it's so cheap too. Like it's not an expensive header. I paid a lot of money for that stupid J's, and like I will say for buying an authentic like JDM header, whoever welded that did not do a very nice job. That wasn't like not what I saw other headers welded. Like I got one of the worst ones. Does it really matter in terms of performance? Probably not. But it was just like, for as much money as I paid for the stupid header, like the weld should be a little bit better. They must have been training a new kid that day.
Yeah. Man, shout out to Dan Lohan. He's been like, I think he's asked like a ton of questions today. I think he's been on this whole time too.
Nice.
Let's see. Jay's is way too loud for the S2K. That's what Rebel Take says. And then we got Wolf Party is selling his car to Cosmilitis. Sorry. Do we wish Tommy kept and sorted his K24 Miata? Would have liked to see that car receive the same treatment as your NB. I've got something to say about this. I wish he didn't go with the ZF Trans and the Solstice diff on that thing. I wish he just done a Miata NB 6-speed and kept like a 3.9 or a 3.63 diff in the rear.
That car was in like a really weird like state.
Yeah.
It wasn't sorted, it was fast, but it wasn't sorted.
I get why he did it, because I think he was trying to make the best Miata. So like he just bought like all the best stuff. But like I think that like
he made like one of the best like track Miatas. That thing was miserable hard on like the street.
Right? Didn't you have like drop knuckles on that thing too?
Yeah, he had drop knuckles. He had a gutted interior.
Yeah.
But like the problem with those cars is the packaging is so tight. So going to that, he had a 3-inch exhaust that was banging around on the subframe because you don't really have like good clearance for a 3-inch exhaust. You can do it, right? But like it takes probably somebody to sit there and actually fab it to the car. That transmission was overthrowing when I drove it. So like you had to like half push the clutch in order. Otherwise, if you pushed it too far, you get like this awful like on the throw up bearing. It was like overthrowing the.
And that's why I said like he should have just kept he should have just gotten a 6-speed. I mean, he's not a Miata guy. Like
no, like I think he just like did a little bit of research and people like, oh yeah, this and this. Yeah. The Solstice diff I definitely would not have done because especially on an NA car, like
doesn't make sense.
You don't really blow up Torsons on Miatas.
Like those things are all offered for high horsepower, like turbo builds. Like that's what the ZF Trans is for. That's what the Solstice diff is for the Getrag diff.
Keeping stock diff and tranny and keeping the power plant frame is like the smart way to do a swap, I think.
Yeah.
The rotary 13B in my NA Miata is utilizing the factory power plant frame and a factory Miata transmission, which is the FC bell housing. So.
Yes, you will, Smile per Mile, you will be able to rewatch this live stream after we finish. Dan's asking, what's your red wine of choice, Quinn? Got a good laugh out of the super video.
Oh man, I was drinking, that was some boxed wine. It was like aged bourbon barrel stuff, and it might have been a Merlot. But yeah, it was extra heavy. I was pretty sauced in that video. I was editing it. I actually cut stuff out because I'm like, man, I am just like too extra here.
Faces every once in a while.
That's not one of my proudest videos, so I apologize for being extra annoying.
Yeah, you do, man. We've talked about this, Stunner. The prices for OEM S2000 hardtops are out of control because they're like $6,000, right?
It's like for me, being done with the convertible thing, a hardtop on an S2000 is a good opportunity for weight savings. So I pulled my factory soft top assembly out with the motors. That was like 65 pounds, the whole thing. The Mugen double carbon with Lexan rear window is 33 pounds. So there was a good amount of weight savings there. I'm over the convertible thing, so I just kind of leave the top on.
Yep.
An OEM, I know where I'm going with this, is the OEM hard tops. Yes, it's OEM. The fitment's nice.
Great.
It's OEM, but it's glass and fiberglass, and I think they're decently heavier. So if you're trying to like say weight on the car without totaling it, like I think these tops are pretty darn good.
Yeah. If Blade makes a titanium header, are you going to jump on it?
I mean, the Ricer in me wants it. Yeah, I have full titanium header back exhaust on most of my motorcycles.
Yeah. And we love Blade.
Yeah, Alex has been
great,
good to me. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that don't like him, and I think I empathize a little bit more for him. So I didn't deal with Blade when they were having like some more of their other issues, right? But I'm a business owner, and I really try to like go above and beyond for customer support, because I think that's something that's lacking since like COVID. Things got so crazy, and like customer support just seems like it went out the shitter everywhere. So I really try to emphasize on that, and I also empathize for other business owners, because it's easy to get slammed by somebody on the internet, and it's easy to look at things from the eyes of a consumer, but it's like when you look at things from the eyes of a manufacturer and from the eyes of a business owner, it's a little bit different. So I gave Alex the benefit of the doubt. So this is why I still work with Alex, is because I can't remember how him and I even got talking. It's like I have no idea how that even all came about.
Yeah, I remember one of the first things was the header, right? I think it was was it the header?
I don't know. I don't even know how him and I like got linked up. But anyways, he gave me his word. He's like, if you're not happy, like he's like, I guarantee you I can pull more power out of your car. Mm-hmm. He's like, and if you're not happy with it, like I think he offered him like a full refund on everything. And I was like, all right, like I can respect that. Like I'll give you a chance, But yeah, I mean, you have to understand, nobody in any of these industries are manufacturing all their stuff in-house. And when you don't have the means to do it in-house, because it's expensive to set up to do like one thing in-house and like try to grow a business at the same time and keep the lights on. So you have to lean on people in the industry who are already doing that and doing it well, hopefully, right? And shit happens in manufacturing. Sometimes stuff like doesn't come out the way that you want it to. And sometimes you get stuff that fails, right? I think the thing that separates a good company from a bad company, and this is any company, even the biggest, like best name companies, like Porsche, like everybody has recalls, everybody,
Things happen.
Yep.
So what separates a good company from a bad company is how do you handle that warranty and that support like post fact. And I haven't had to Alex has always been responsive to me for Blade. I hope that he treats other people the same way. I think he does. I don't know. He's in California, I'm in Connecticut, but the level of support that he's given me has been positive. And, the products that he's given me have always delivered in how Alex has promised. So, were things perfect? Not always, right? Like the bushings where we installed them, it wasn't clear in the front. There was I couldn't get the caster I wanted out of the alignment.
Oh,
I would have to go back and actually adjust the bushings. We just centered them because we didn't know any better, right? Like maybe that would stuff like that would be a little bit better to know. But overall my experience was positive with Blade, and we're going to be doing more stuff down the road too. So.
Yep. All right, moving on here. Dan H says, how much heartache does the OCD with a clean underside of a car cause? My wife and I are always so impressed how clean your cars are when viewed from below left. Why is that, Quinn? Is it because maybe they never go outside?
I'm a little bit more reluctant to drive them in inclement weather at this point. But they get dirty. I was under the RX-7 last night changing spark plugs, and I'm like, there's oil all over the place when my catch can overflows. I just look at it as anti-rust protection.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I'm under there changing around, I wipe stuff down with a rag.
Yeah.
It is a little bit disheartening. Motorcycles kind of fixed that a little bit for me because I got them in such a clean state, and you don't really drive motorcycles or ride motorcycles in snow, or I try not to ride in the rain. I don't enjoy riding in the rain. So I just kind of keep those more minty. The cars are best effort. When I was in there doing everything, I cleaned everything as best I could. I painted as much as I could. I undercoated as much as I could, and it's like best effort, you know. So they're not. They're still way better than factory or like factory with miles. So
Can we recommend a good body shop for an S2000 in tri-state area? We don't. If you could tell us one, that'd be great.
yeah, I don't know. I've used one person. I had to have body work done. My ex-wife crashed our RX-8 into the pole in our garage and like crumpled the rear quarter panel. And I took it to Gravels in Thomaston, Connecticut. And, you know, for as bad of a hit, like if you know the RX-8 body, it has the flare in the rear. And, you know, that was all crumpled in, and they were able to pull that out, fix that up, and like do a pretty darn good repair, like all things considered. So, I would say them, but that's about the far of the extent I have with them. So,
Anthony's asking thoughts on lowering springs on OE dampers. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really mild lowering spring with OE dampers. Like it really depends on like the car. I mean, are we talking like OE dampers from like a '94 Miata or like an OE damper from like a more modern car?
yeah.
As long as the spring rates aren't too much different, then the OE damper should suffice.
Yeah, if it's like a Miata, like you're probably better off just getting like a Tokiko Alumina or a Kona Yellow for it. If it's a more modern, like I'll just say that like little spoiler for the Supra, the GR Supra, which has BMW's electronic active shocks. I'm keeping those shocks, and I just got a lowering spring kit that's adjustable height.
Yeah,
so I can
modern
retain that
yeah.
because I don't want to mess with that system. It's good.
It's great seeing you be stoked about the 890. Yeah, it is awesome.
I never thought I'd be this excited about a new car. I thought I was done based on the direction that the automotive industry took.
There are updates on that he did touch base on this a while ago. So like you'll have to look at it or listen to it on the rewatch.
Yeah, I talked about.
Yeah.
So those of you just tuning in, just real quick clips. The podcast video was from like 4 months ago. I had 3 orders out there. I got an allocation for one in Wyoming, and it's for a 45th anniversary white premium manual Supra, and it's supposed to hit their dealership. Right now, the ETA is next month, so October. So, and then it's going to get trailered here.
We had a friend sign on, Jonathan.
JV.
JV. He said on a Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to switch. Wednesdays aren't the best anymore.
I'm just trying to keep you on your toes, Jonathan.
Yeah,
You can't predict us.
Yeah, you can't come here and change your oh wait, no, he doesn't have an STI anymore. He's got a new WRX.
Stop trying to figure this out,
We're
Jonathan.
changing oil over here. Oh man. All right. So Justice. I was always into cars since I was little, but recently wanted to know how to upgrade and learn what parts to do. YouTube has helped out a bit. Sometimes I feel as nothing sticks. How do you learn? You learn by doing.
Yeah, a lot of reading on
and
forums
doing,
and then doing.
Yeah.
I think YouTube will show you how to do most of everything that you're looking to do. But I mean, if you don't have the best resources like on YouTube or whatever, you can't find what you're looking to do, get a factory service manual. That's probably your next best bet, and just follow it to a T.
Yep. Ooh. Power hauls. I just got a text from Jonathan. Come on, Jonathan, use the chat.
Yeah, Jonathan, what do you think this is?
Power hauls. He allowed Dorito powered updates.
What is it?
Power hauls. He's asking if there's any loud Dorito powered updates.
Who asked that, Jonathan?
Power hauls.
Powerhouse.
Powerhouse. I had the L for some reason. I'm tired.
And we've been going for a while.
Yeah, this has been a couple hours now.
should
My phone's about to die too.
I was gonna say we should cap this off soon.
Yeah. Powerhouse.
Yes, the RX-7 is back up and running. 21 pounds. It's a animal, absolute animal. We're gonna have more videos coming out.
The next video is RX-7.
RX-7 is the next video, and then we're gonna be dynoing it soon once Matt's ready with the Exoset.
It is ready.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna be going to the dyno soon,
Yep.
and we'll see what they put out. If you guys want to take a guess, it's a TO4S 60-1 on a street ported 13B. I think it's going to do 450 at the wheels at 21 pounds.
I'm saying the same as a Porsche 959 444.
All right.
Let's see. All right, so we're doing a real quick. We're going to answer the rest of the questions real quick because
Yep.
we're going to be capping this
We're
off.
gonna cap it off.
Would you consider selling the NB Miata? Thomas says.
I can't. That's like my Hachiroku car.
Yeah.
You know, like even though I don't drive it all the time, like I love that car. I poured so much of myself into that thing. Like I just can't.
All right. Michael says, would you consider a wing on the S? We were just talking about this. I like GT3 wings on an S2000. We've got a build coming up that maybe might be better suited.
Might get a wing. Yeah.
They might get a wing.
I have an OEM duckbill. I like it. Somebody makes a duckbill for the car that's like a little bit more aggressive, and I like that too. But I'd have to have it painted because I don't think the carbon on the I think it's just going to be too much Panda. I really want to paint a lot of the carbon on this car eventually, or wrap or something. But yeah, I like duckbills on them. I would maybe do something like that. Probably not a GT wang though. It's not fast enough for a GT wang.
Advice for younger car enthusiasts. Several interns who asked me how to get into these cars made me think honestly today it is tough. Go to events. Do ride-alongs. There's HPDE days where you can ride with like intermediate and more advanced drivers. Autocrosses, modified machines days at Lime Rock.
Wait, what's he asking? Now, what car he should get?
Like,
or what
advice for younger car enthusiasts?
Oh,
how to get into cars.
Honestly, I mean, do your research on the car, but pick the one that tugs at your heartstrings the most. Yeah. The one that you like when you see it in photos, or you like just have a collection of photos and an album on your phone. Get that car. I mean, make sure it's not like a monumental, like horrible thing, right? Like, what's a really bad car that you never recommend buying somebody?
Yeah, multiple.
Yeah, like if it's something that's just like problems after problems, like don't get that car. But if it's like proven. It's an enthusiast car. There's a good aftermarket support for it, and you love the way that thing looks, and you feel good when you look at it. Get that car.
Yeah, there you go.
Everything else will follow.
All right, real quick for the last couple ones. Oh yeah, so that was about the stock dampers. Was an FK8 Type R with OE dampers. Yeah, do lowering springs. That'll handle it. You recommend a strut tower brace and front sway bar for NA Turbo Miata. That's just for a street car. I never
tower brace doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I didn't do a strut tower brace, but definitely a big bar. Miata, you do a big RB tubular bar and a stock rear bar.
Yeah, just get the racing for a Miata Racing V tubular all day. Yep. Most just I'll just say this real quick. Most front engine rear wheel drive cars like a bigger front sway bar, but certain cars like NC Miata and RX-8. My RX-8 doesn't need any sway bar stuff. It's good. It's cool. Yeah.
All right. Isn't there anyone? I know you got. Wait, I know you're not in the journalism industry, but is there a reason for the? Here, I can't. Now my eyes aren't working anymore.
Matchew's going blind here.
Yeah. I'm exhausted too. We're wrapping up too for anybody who might have just joined.
Asymmetry when classifying FMR and RMR. Is there any reason? I think there's more like just a quick way of explaining it. So calling an S2000 an FR car is only kind of doing half the justice, because like in my brain, an FR car is a true front engine where it hangs over the front suspension. So calling it a front midship, right?
Strut tower.
Well, it's front engine, but it's really a front midship, right? I just think that's a notable thing when explaining the layout of a car. And there's some FMR cars that are more mid-engine than some. Yeah, I mean everything's going to be more.
These front midship.
Well, he's saying like because there might be some FMR cars that are more mid-engine than some RMR cars.
Oh, okay.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it just comes down to the car specifically, right? If it's worth mentioning, you should mention it. All right, Stoke Road contact. Good to see you guys. Thank you, Sam. Hope you're staying warm if you're still in Alaska.
Oh.
You think improve handling on the S2 besides things like suspension, tires, and strut tower bar? The RX-8's already awesome, especially on an S2. So I would just increase the spring rate and dampers a little bit. Don't touch the strut tower bar. You know, oh, you could. I have a strut tower bar. It doesn't do anything. I have the Mazda Speed one. It just looks cool, and it's a rare piece. But you know, just a decent set of coilovers and tires, and that's all that you need to do on that car. And then alignment. Alignment's the best thing. I should say that alignment.
I'm just now realizing that a lot of those questions like said S2 when they were referring to the car, and I thought they were like that was like a short for like the S2000.
Oh,
but they're talking about your RX-8.
He might be talking about S2000.
Yeah, that's funny because that could either be your RX-8.
I think that when I hear S1, S2, I think of
Yeah.
first gen, second gen RX-8.
Yep.
Oh
well.
Yeah.
Sorry if we're wrong. I think that's it for this one, though.
Yeah, this has been a good one.
We're closing this out. Yeah, there's a lot of great questions.
Thank you
Appreciate
guys for
them all.
tuning in. Yeah, thank you for engaging. That was really neat. So we'll just some of the takeaways from here. RX-8 or RX-7 content more is coming soon. Dyno for RX-7 and Exoset. Once Exoset is tuned, you will see all the videos for that thing because we had it on here long enough. It runs, it drives, it just needs tuning, and then we'll film a whole bunch of content. We'll show you guys like what that actually like came out like, and we're gonna plan a meet up this fall.
Yep.
I would say probably let's do mid to end of October.
We're all gonna get our pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah, we'll all get our PSLs on. If you guys know of a good venue in Connecticut that's like kind of more towards the northwest corner, let's try to like. I would really like to find somewhere that has like good driving roads around it,
Oh yeah.
but like is like kind of a chill, like not too populated area where like we
Litchfield
can just
area.
kind of like meet up in peace and not.
Yeah.
I know there's got to be something. Somebody may know something offhand. If you do, reach out to us on Instagram. Probably the best way to shoot us a DM on there or email slipanglemedia@gmail.com. We will plan that meetup and we'll get together with anybody who wants to come out. What else? We'll do a video on the wheels.
Mhm.
We're also going to start working more on the car part aspect of Slip Angle Media. We have a lot of experience with tuner parts. We're going to make it pretty simple. We're just going to recommend the things that we would buy if we were buying them for our own car. We're not going to bombard you with a million options. It's just going to be like, here's our budget, here's our medium, here's our high-end offering, and that's it. And we'll do them car specific. We have distributorship for a lot of wholesale stuff, so we have to start putting that to use. S2000, AP2, AP1, the AP2 taillight conversion kits. We have 3 of those in stock.
Oh yeah, we need to get that up on the site.
We have 3 of them in stock. So if anybody's looking for that kit, we do have them. I think they're $240 shipped. I can't remember what the pricing. They're somewhere around there, but just shoot us a DM and we'll give you the price shipped to wherever you're at if you're interested in those. And I don't know. Fingers crossed for that this GR Super gets here in a timely manner and makes it from Wyoming to Connecticut safely.
Yeah, it's enclosed, so it should be fine.
Unless the ship capsizes on this one, because I think it's on a boat right now coming across the ocean. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That is it for this one, and yeah. You got
See you
anything
in
else
the
you
next
want to
one.
say? We'll see
No.
you guys in the next one.
I'm too tired. I got no words.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much. I can't even do the dumb thing.
Wait, I'll do the dumb thing. You
Oh,
click.
you do it.
Done.
Oh, I got to.
Oh, there was an extra.